Hey up.
Hello, lovely. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
This is good, isn't it? This is nice. Are we live? Is this real? Am I here? We doing this?
Yes, we are. I'm
Nice.
just messaging Sarah. 1 second.
Nice. I have to give Rich a massive shout out because we were just talking and I was like, do you know what? There's so many things that we're talking about today that I really felt were relevant, really relevant, Rich. They were really relevant. And I said, they're so relevant that we should really just go live, an impromptu live. And share these bits and pieces because they're so poignant. And in the intro there, difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. And if you define what beautiful is, for me, beautiful is not living in this psyop that we're going through and actually being submersed into it. I'm awake to it. And that's a beautiful thing. We've been given the time to discern fact from fiction. We've got ourselves to a point where we're all at some point on our pursuit of truth or at some point on that journey. So there's a lot to there's a constant amount of things that we've all got to kind of wade through in this information warfare. As I was just joking around, it's nuts. You've got a ton of influencers influencing people on information. And now we've got turmeric experts. We've got experts out there at absolutely everything. They all contradict each other. My top 5 reasons for using turmeric, my top 5 reasons to not use turmeric, and they'll all be under the same umbrella. And I've got to the point where I'm like, well, are we going to discuss this? Are we going to openly discuss how ridiculous it's got for people to find the time to, again, as we said pre-Rona, to discern facts from fiction? Everyone is in this kind of consume state of information. Every time people have a second, they're down on their phone through the reels, trying to learn as much, get as much from all these influencers. Andrew Tate, he's one that's going around at the moment. And I'm fathomed by what this guy has to say. I agree with some of it. I don't agree with a lot of it. But people are overly consumed by it. And the AI is suggesting reels to people that will then take those things on board and deal with that the rest of their day. It's carnage. It's carnage to a certain degree. So yeah, sorry, I'll relax a little bit, but there's a lot I want to talk about, Rich. There's a lot.
I'm just going to put the chat room up into so everybody can see it.
Lovely.
Although everybody can see it anyway, it's just nice to be able to see the chat, and also it puts us on a slightly smaller.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So
do you know what? Where I'm on my mobile, honestly, guys and girls, I'm gonna have to go like this to read it. So you might have to read some of them out.
It makes it easy because you're on your mobile. It does make it easier for you to see it because otherwise you've got to.
I've got to click over.
You can put it on widescreen, can't you? You can put it on full screen. I think.
Maybe.
So have you got it? If you put it on full screen, you'll be able to see the chat up easy in the thing. But anyway, yeah. So just a very quick shout out to Rox's chat room. We haven't been on your channel for so long.
Ages, Rich.
Ages, man. I've invited obviously Sarah. I'm not sure if she's going to make. Hang on a second. Let me just see what her reply. Because obviously this went into the group, and I said to Sarah like, "Come in, we're doing it." Oh, I haven't. Yeah. I can just let you, Max. Grandma, yeah, I'll be off camera today. I just woke up, so I need a minute to get coffee.
Oh, bless. Do you know what? We kind of are off camera, but we didn't go off camera initially because when I'm on my phone, I couldn't put a little. It was just a blank screen, and I just thought that's a bit boring.
Yeah,
that's a bit boring.
And I can't sit here off camera with Rox on camera. Anyway.
No. And if it helps, I haven't done my hair. My hair's still in the same position it was in from yesterday, so I haven't even done anything to my hair. So I'm just here as normal. There's no airs and graces here. We just went live off the back of a convo.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing about me and you, Rox. We're not YouTube content creators in that way. We're not trying to influence people in that way, and we don't really give a toss about fucking
I'm gonna take it back
you
to
know,
2018, Rich, when we said
yeah,
we're go like I'm literally online making content to make all these things socially acceptable conversations. They need to stop being taboo subjects. And there's a lot of
yeah.
things that we were talking about in 2018 that were not socially acceptable topics that now people kind of have
Nothing we
fully
spoke about
accepted.
in 2018. Nothing we spoke about in 2018 was socially acceptable,
Right.
really. And now we're having those conversations. Like people are having. We're listening to people having those conversations,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit. It's a little bit disturbing sometimes when you hear some people are getting sucked in by new paradigms and just different narratives.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they still haven't recognized that, oh, whoa, hang on, right, okay.
Right.
So in reality, we've actually got about four narratives going on here. So which one's true?
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that is ever the more important for people that are on their pursuit of truth. Obviously, I can't see the screen properly, but there is a little comment in there that made me giggle because on my life, right, I was walking down the road the other day and I was having a conversation with a pal of mine, and they cast my mind back to I believe it was the first tour. And shout out the tour for recently going out on the road and doing all that bits and
Yeah.
pieces. Massive, massive respect to everyone who took part in that. Got massive love and respect for all of the efforts put into that. It's brilliant. First tour, I remember. I can't for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the town that it was. But it's the reason I don't say that word online anymore. It's hilarious. I don't say the benevolent word. I think it was Matty England that said difficult roads lead to benevolent destinations, and it just made me chuckle because I remember this priest like it was yesterday. He came with ketchup on his mouth and a pride badge on, talking about we can't talk about all this stuff outside the church. And they reminded me that I said to the vicar in it, that's not very benevolent, is it? And he wiped the ketchup from his mouth, and I just looked at the pride badge. And then obviously that's a whole nother conversation that we can have on really relevant radio today as well.
He was
About
wearing a pride badge.
Yeah, he was wearing a pride badge and he had just come from McDonald's and he was still kind of like wiping the ketchup from his face. He was just an absolute state. An absolute state. I wish do you know what? I'm going to maybe go through the archives and find a bit of footage because it was. Anyway, but I was reminded of it. 4 years later. It's still in other people's minds poignantly as pride gets shoved down everybody's throat. So I'm going to be careful about what I say because I realise we're on my channel and we're not on Rumble. We're on YouTube just now. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Shout out Matty England. It's a fond memory that. It's in a really weird way. It's one of them landmark memories of mine. The irony of this situation was unreal for me. It really was. So yeah, shout out to all the benevolent priests out there.
Well, it's the hypocrisy, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
funny because that kind of synchronizes what I was watching earlier about the Spanish Inquisition. And that was all, that was Catholic priests exerting the church's will on everybody. I mean, one of the things they said in that was when this happened, when the last sort of massive raid on a Cathar village happened, Catholicism was the only accepted Orthodox religion and had been for 700 years. That, according to history, it had been 700 years that basically everybody had been. Yeah, Catholicism was the only accepted religion. But I was watching that, and all I could see was the very same people that we're facing now, the very same people that are forcing their own will upon us. And now it's not on pain of death physically, but it's on pain of death socially. And, like this being cancelled and defamed. And it's not just with, I mean, now it's kind of exploding and everybody's getting hit by it because of the recent agendas. But this has always been happening. Anybody that calls out the shenanigans gets defamed. And as much as I hate him, and as much as he is I think he's a bit of a gatekeeper, and he's profiting. It's for personal profit. It's not really. He's seen a market and he's profiting from it. There's Alex Jones, but there's a lot of people that have looked into the events that Alex Jones was questioning and have reached their own, made their own minds up that have actually been in line with what Alex Jones has said, but they've actually used their own discernment from it. The thing is that what he did was draw attention to it, and now the lawyer said to the jury, basically destroy his business and make it impossible for him to start up again. Right, utterly destroy Alex Jones and InfoWars. And this could just be another bloody psyop. This just could be another thing to further cement Alex Jones as some sort of martyr for the truth cause, when the rumor is he's worth 225 million or so, there or thereabouts.
This is the thing.
So 45 million isn't much skin off his nose, really, but it just shows you that in the time that he's been doing this, he has acquired a huge wealth for himself and his family, and he hasn't shared one fucking penny of it. Have we lost you? Have you frozen? All right. This is our technical difficulties, ladies and gents. You're going to have to bear with us. Roxanne, I think, has lost. Yeah, she's frozen. She gone sideways. I'll shout out the chat room while I'm here. Hey, really, Roxanne's chat room. How's everybody doing? It's great to see you all. It's been a while. Please come over to my channel, The Magic Treehouse, and sub up if you haven't. I don't reckon. Well, there's a couple of names, obviously, I recognise from my chat. Just JP, William, occasionally. I think I've seen you. But Natalie, I don't know. I haven't seen you in my chat, or Darren, or Lenny Mears, or Matty England, or Matt Parkin, Michael Parkin. I don't think I've seen any of you. Three Fingers, obviously. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Lars Russell, first one in the chat. Good to see you too. Yeah, Roxanne will be back very, very shortly, I'm sure. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for her, let's go and see. Let's just have a quick little listen to our buddy, Red Pill Trill. This is Jedi.
Yeah, this is gonna be a bit mad, like the way I've written it and that. Do you know where we go from here? Do you know where we go from here? I got no idea. It just feels like we're going round in circles. Tell me, do you feel the same? And nothing seems to change. I know they say patience is a virtue. I just wanna turn the page. Are we living in a cage? This world got me feeling like a germ. What's the aim of the game? How'd I stay in my lane when progression moves slower than the turn? Where we go from here, I got no idea. It just feels like we're going round in circles. Tell me, do you feel the same? And nothing seems to change. I know they say patience is a virtue. I just wanna turn the page. Are we living in a cage? This world got me feeling like a germ. What's the aim of the game? How'd I stay in my lane when progression moves slower than the turn? Where'd we go from here? Do you know where we go from here? Do you know? Is the question. I'm just looking for directions. They say the blind leads the blind, but what's the use to your eyes if everywhere you look there's deception, designed to warp your perception. The lies get applauded, but the truth gets an awkward reception. Critical thought is a weapon, or that's how it feels when you're caught in possession. Won't be a good slave, ignore the oppression. Got fire in your soul, they call it aggression. They even want us in the morgue or detention, form of depression or distorted connections. Turn your daughter into a whore with infections. Got your son thinking drug laws is profession. The ones enforcing the laws never mention. Judges watching child porn with a morbid obsession. Probably snorting wrong before the court is in session. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Do you know where we go from here? Sick of living in a war zone like it's Baghdad. My ex threw everything I owned in a black bag. I broke a phone, she spat in my boat like I'd have that. I grabbed her by the throat and I spat back. Trying to type a postcode into the sack now, but had nowhere else to go, so I scratched that and just sat there, looking up at the sky with a blank stare. There's no solid foundations, just stand here. Noisy neighbors, racists and shanks here. Limitations, maces and tanks here. Starvation and slaves to the bank here. I feel skanked here. No. Where we go from here, I got no idea. It just feels like we're going round in circles. Tell me, do you feel the same? And nothing seems to change. I know they say patience is a virtue. I just wanna turn the page. Are we living in a cage? This world got me feeling like a germ. What's the aim of the game? How'd I stay in my lane when progression moves slower than the turn? Where we go from here, I got no idea. It just feels like we're going round in circles. Tell me, do you feel the same? And nothing seems to change. I know they say patience is a virtue. I just wanna turn the page. Are we living in a cage? This world got me feeling like a germ. What's the aim of the game? How'd I stay in my lane when progression moves slower than a turn? All this going round in circles makes me nauseous. Is this the Matrix? Cause if you're Morpheus, I'll leave now and meet you at the coordinates. I refuse to be subordinate or an ornament. While there's a war on the poor and less fortunate, the black mortality rates are disproportionate, competing with each other like it was a tournament. While the elite are eating popcorn in the audience, the promises the politician makes are fraudulent. Still we wait for a glorious metamorphosis. Will the underdog ever be victorious? I'm just curious. Where'd we go from here? I got no idea. Do you know where we go from here? Where we go from here? I got no idea. If you see me at the crossroads, can you help me? Cause I'm feeling kinda lost, bro. They say I must grow. Where it's cold in the Moscow, I kinda feel at home when my heart's roll. If you see me at the crossroads, can you help me? Cause I'm feeling kinda lost, bro. They say I must grow. Where it's cold in the Moscow, I kinda feel at home when my heart's roll. Do you know where we go from here? I got no idea. I just feel like we're going around in circles. Tell me, do you feel the same? That nothing seems to change. I know they say patience is a virtue. I just wanna turn the page. Are we living in a cage? This world's got me feeling like a German. What's the aim of the game? How'd I stay in my lane when progression moves slower than a turn? Where we go from here? I got no idea. I just feel like we're going around in circles. Tell me, do you feel the same? And nothing seems to change. I know they say patience is a virtue. I just wanna turn a page. We're living in a cage. This world got me feeling like a German. What's the aim of the game? How'd I stay in my lane when progression moves slower than a turn? Progression moves slower than a turn. Yeah, man. You know? Just thinking out loud, man. Red pill trill. Where we go from here, man? Someone give me a map or something, man.
Hey! Hey, wow, Roxanne! You've morphed into Sarah. What's happened?
That's not.
Yeah.
Can I go back?
Hey.
I want to go back.
How you doing?
Just kidding. I love myself, everybody, but yeah, Roxanne's gorgeous. Where did she just disappear on us momentarily?
Yeah, she's obviously. I don't know what's happened, but we've been having technical difficulties. You know what it's like. So
yeah. Well, I just woke up.
All fun and games.
I brushed my teeth, everyone, for you. Before coffee.
Bigger. Yeah,
Hey, just JP.
Sherry,
Did you
how
see
you
it?
doing? And Natalie,
Rox
all I
is
was
ranked.
saying, yeah, all I was saying to Natalie, I said I didn't recognise Natalie's name. Just in my chat, Natalie, I've not seen you in my chat before. This is Roxanne's chat. It doesn't make it. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, I haven't seen you in my chat. So come over to my channel and subscribe.
I was going to
Comment
say,
my
if some
life.
of you are listening and wonder where Rox has been, I would highly recommend you jump over to Richie's channel. And if you don't already know, the two of them are very connected and have been working together for a long time. So I've been helping them with that a lot. We're running the Wide Awake show over there mostly, and we're doing it every Sunday. And it's really fun. We do a little panel show. Sometimes it can last a little too long. Just kidding.
8 hours was the longest, wasn't it? 8 hours was the longest.
Yeah. And the
But
conversation
they're generally around between 4 and 5 hours long.
The best part too is that Calum and I, we got off the live. We ended up talking for another 5 hours after that about almost the same thing. I even joked. I was like, I wish I could have just hit the record button. There was so much good information, but we're going to have Calum on as much as possible with his current situation. And he's got so much good information to share with us. So, right? Bring it on.
Hopefully, yeah, definitely. And hopefully we'll have Bernie and Cam on soon as well.
Yeah. We should look at a calendar, Rich, and just pick a date and ask them and then go from there or something.
The thing is, we've got the problem is we're going from, I think Bernie's about 5 hours behind me? 3 hours ahead of you, 5 hours behind me, and Cam is 8 or 9 hours ahead.
It's like a 17-hour difference between me and Chris, who's on Arguni, or on the Karens.
He's northeast, isn't he?
Yeah,
so he's
and
like Queensland.
And I want to say that's like a 2-hour difference between him and Cam, who's on the west side. And remind me, Karina, is she considered west side? No, she's considered the east side.
Karina is in Victoria, isn't she? Is she?
I always get it. I'm mixed up. I was just gonna say I need to make sure I mark that down.
East. I think Karina's east, but anyways, yeah, Callum is definitely one of the awesome souls. JP, he's so wise. He's so bloody wise. But the funny thing is,
he's our wizard, our resident wizard.
I think he's younger than me. I can never remember. I'm sure he's actually younger than me because I thought he was older than me, but he's only like 43 or something.
He feels older than you because he's so wise, but he doesn't look any older, right? I love how that works out.
No, I don't know. No, my beard's a lot white. He hasn't got such a white beard, has he? I'm jealous of his beard though. But yeah, he's I'm sure what it is he's younger than me, but in every way he's kind of older than he's like more
well, like I've said to you, it's a wake up call. I mean, it's like I knew I had work to do, but it's been wonderful to have him around. He's like a mentor at this point, and already I'm like, I got a million questions, but what I've decided I need to do is I need to do some of my own work yet. And then I think some of those things are going to come together a little bit easier, especially with our idea. And if you guys are subscribed to Campbell's channel, Autodidactic, I'd post a link, but I'm not a mod. Anyway, the Cam's message here is really good too. You did a recent video, and it was all about, don't just talk about it, get it done. And there's so much truth to that, especially with myself, because traditionally I've been that person who's like, oh, I'll do this or I'll do that. And then like, obviously things get piled up and then I don't get the job done, or I let somebody down in that way.
Stretching yourself too thin.
Exactly. And even now, like, I've gotten so excited to be a part of this group, and I want to do all these projects and all these things and spread all this love, right? And Callum even kind of reined me in chat the other day on that, because it's like, if you spread yourself too thin, you'll immediately find, for me, I have to go off grid now. Now I'm like, and I've told Richie this, I have to shut down, go off grid, disconnect, and then I can kind of rejuvenate and come back. But it's just, we have to do this the smart way. And we also have to manage around what the future events are going to be. But as the other thing is that circumstances could like randomly change on us, right, Richie? And there's a chance that I might have to get over to Richie's Island like sooner than later, and maybe get myself set up with something, and then I can help out, and we'll have the healing center up then. You know, who knows? But we're gonna figure this out as we go.
The what I'm doing, right, as always, like just the way I roll, I'm trying to incorporate all of the things that are really resonating with me. Trying to incorporate them into my everyday, actions, being and whatever. And so what Jason Archaics is saying about the simulacrum, and you should just don't worry about it, man. Just do it on account.
I can't, and we'll get into it later. But yeah,
yeah. So
you just know what I'm doing every time.
It's yeah. She's not. Listen, Sarah's not leaning down to do a line of cocaine. Okay, that's not.
Gotta make it fun.
The link in the description goes to 404 error. Really interesting.
Are you using your new one where it literally says the Magic Treehouse on it, where it says C/Magic Treehouse? You didn't get deleted.
The one that's in the. It's in the.
Is it your refresh? Okay, let me double check.
Right, it does. It goes to not found.
Let me.
What a bunch of.
You didn't get deleted this morning, did you? We don't know about it.
Eh?
Okay, so that is really weird. Let me double check that we have the right. I'm gonna send you the. Oops. I'm gonna send you the right one just in case there was a letter missing from it or something. Because Richie's channel is still up, and here's the deal, guys. If you ever type in the Magic Treehouse when you're searching for it, make sure you immediately go to your filters and hit channel, and his will be the first one that pops up. Otherwise, it's a bunch of kids' TV shows, obviously.
Dad can. There is a magic tree. There are two Magic Tree Houses, and there's a Magic Tree House book series. But yeah, if you put the Magic
There's a dad cam that's kind of cute, like where dad goes into the Magic Tree House with his kids or something, and he's wearing a camera, and so it's from his perspective. That's kind of cute. To all the good dads out there, aww. My dad was a good dad.
Right.
Okay.
So here's a link.
Did you? And if not, let me
And Voynich, how you doing? And Lunderground, how you doing? Good to see you. So Natalie, yeah, you'll see the right Roxanne because of circumstances, work, and all, just everything basically. Mostly being because we're all targeted now. Rox hasn't been able to make every single Sunday. She hasn't been able to make every single show, but she's always there in spirit, obviously. And yeah, we've got how many weeks now has that been? We've done every Sunday for the last.
Yeah.
Hey, she's back.
Oh yes. Woo.
Yay! Right, it won't let me upload an avatar, and it's killing my battery on my phone too quickly to come on camera. So I'm afraid I'm gonna have to stay like this.
Don't worry. Hey, can we all go off camera now? Oh, did you make it? Did you go and freshen
Yes, I
yourself
put
up, mate?
earrings.
Because you look all
I
fresh
brushed my
and
teeth and
gorgeous.
put
Yeah,
earrings
Sarah.
in.
That's the thing, Sarah. I'll stay on camera because Sarah's looking lovely. So
My thing is that I feel like it offsets some harsher features. So that's why when I've been on shows lately, I'm like, oh, I'll just hop. I got them laying right there, so just hop them in. I always wear rings every day, so that's my look.
Lovely.
I used to wear earrings.
Oh,
I did get
I got a
one.
nose.
I got one ear pierced, and then I very quickly got the other ear pierced because I just couldn't be bothering with all that. Oh yeah, but if you've got your left ear pierced, that means that you're,
Yeah, you're right. I know.
it's
I
like,
never
which
knew
ear is
when I
it?
looked
Left
at a
ear
guy
or
and
the
I was
right
like,
ear?
I didn't
Yeah,
know if it
right,
was
right.
supposed to be like a thing for gay guys to like deflect women from hitting on them, you know. So I will be honest, when
I
you
think
see
it's just a big load
either
of
or, you're
bollocks.
like, should I be deterred? Should I jump in? I don't know.
I think it's a big old load of bollocks. So, Rox,
Yeah.
excuse me.
That's all right.
Yeah, right. There was a purpose for this real relevant radio because we had some real relevant stuff to talk about.
Indeed.
Which was so yeah. I was talking about the Spanish Inquisition, about how basically what happened back in the 1400s was exactly what I see happening now with the woke thing. You know, woke. Honestly, I don't think woke is as bad as it is. It's obviously portrayed as being a lot further, wider spread than it is by the media, because the media is woke. So they're portraying everybody's woke, man. They're all woke. Everybody's getting woke, except they're not, because you know, we've got these protests springing up in England, in the UK. You know, because of these bloody these drag queen story hours with children, which they got the same thing in the US, haven't they? They did it in the US as well. Drag
all over the
why?
place.
I mean, why they need to do it, I don't understand. I do think it's sad because everybody seems to have forgotten the innocence behind pantomime. That's where I see drag coming from. Drag
Yeah.
came from pantomime, and it came from theatre, from men dressing up as women for a joke,
And
or
see, I like, I like that you're bringing this up, because this gets into the whole like black and white and gray, because I do think it can go to an extreme. But it's like we know there were men that were that dressed more flamboyantly, that took on roles that were more maybe considered a woman's role, like an assistant type role to a higher up, and they, you know, who knows what kind of sexual activity went on between those royals and not. But this is great because there's a gray area, there's an in between where you can be that way. You can choose to be with a man, or a woman be with a woman, but there's a point where it's like it's being pushed right now. We know this, to change yourself at least, which then skews the lines and then skews the family. But anyway,
well,
sorry.
I mean, I heard an interesting opinion on this, which I agree with. That if you enforce, or not enforce, if you affirm confusions that are causing depression, you're not helping. You're not actually helping anything. And with this particular issue, it's absolutely real. Absolutely real. I know people. I've been friends with, you know, with both pre-op and post-op, with men that just wanted to dress like women but didn't actually want to be women, and with men that actually wanted to be women but couldn't afford the surgery. And then there was another man that could afford the surgery and had the surgery, but had only had the top half of the surgery done. And then a girl who wasn't a girl anymore. She's a lad, and she's 100% a lad in every way. They were like, I wouldn't have known if somebody hadn't told me, I would not have known.
Rich, hold tight. I'm
And
going to be back, Sarah and Rich. Hold tight. My phone's down to 1% again. It's not taking the charge, so I'm going to need to just
oh
quickly
god,
jump out and go and find a better charger. I'm getting grabbled.
okay,
It's not fair.
no
All right,
worries.
my lovelies. One sec.
Okay,
Rox,
yeah,
if you can still hear me, let it die all the way.
it might. The trouble is the way the phones are playing, it might actually take 10 minutes to even switch on again if it goes dead, if it runs dead.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
That's part of
That-
it's
they're
trying
so
to reset
good.
the battery. But you had that post the other day. Are you both getting that? Like you reset your cache and then you turn it on
Do you
like
know
airplane
how
mode, and when
often I'm noticing that happening? I'm noticing like in the morning. I'll do it in the morning, so I haven't used my phone at all at night. Clear the cache before I go to bed. In the morning, wake up, and there's 8.5 gigabytes of cache.
especially if you have it on airplane mode, that really doesn't make sense because there should be absolutely no data coming. You know how they show you when they show you the Wi-Fi and they show you what's coming in and what's going out? Yeah, you're supposed to be stopping that altogether. That doesn't make sense.
I don't
Sherry
always,
just
to
sent
be
me.
fair.
Hi, Alex. By the
Fair,
way,
I don't always flight mode it. To be fair, so Pushkin, hey.
that would cause it. I'm gonna. So what I noticed, Rich, is that our links are broken on our description. You and I need to both put ours back in, and I just sent you mine. Yeah.
All of our links
it's like,
are broken.
okay, so this is what's interesting. When they get too long, they'll do this ... thing in YouTube, and normally you can click it. But I notice if you look at ours, there's one dot in white on both you and I's links, which doesn't really make sense, right?
Right. I mean that might be down to
Well, mine is a watch link, so it's an old link, and we haven't revised mine since I was able to fix it. But yeah.
Is it only our links? Yeah.
Yeah, Roxanne's is fine. And it's on our last video, our last show that you and I did off your channel has those links like that.
Right. It's where I think it might be my fault, but
oh, don't worry about it. It can happen. It's just like those weird little cheeky monkeys jumping in, right? That's the only thing I've noticed.
It's the way I copied it across to my post-its, because I've got the description in my post-its. So I've got a sticky post, and it's just the oh yeah, I see what you're on about now. There we go. All right, that's sorted. Thank you for pointing that out for us.
I just, because they were saying it was coming up, I went into one of our old links to double check them. And this is actually a good side subject, because I've noticed recently, for me specifically, I thought it was just related to my job currently, but in the last couple of years, like things just seem ridiculously like complex isn't the right word, but scattered maybe is the right word, where like all the information you need is in all these different places, and you have to copy and paste it over here, and you have to check it over here, and you have to make sure this is in this spot and this is in that spot. And it drives me a little insane, because like my work it's really intense with that. And it's like, normally I love that kind of organizational, so I actually don't mind it when I'm doing it, as much for our show, because I'm really into it. But it drives me nuts when I and I think, this is like part of the planned obsolescence thing, to drive you a little crazy, to make you busier than you need to be. Because things are like, well, and then some people would argue and say, sorry, go ahead.
This is like the observation that Matt, Quantum of Conscience, has made about how things are, they take not just twice as long, they'll take 4 or 5 times as long as they need to. And it seems like the whole idea is to frustrate you and infuriate you and just get you, at the end of your tether with the simplest of tasks. He was trying to change the batteries to a calculator.
How long has Rox been trying to fix her account? you know, trying to make those adjustments.
Me and so
Every time,
Facebook,
her like her computer or her laptop or her phone just goes dead, and she has nothing. You know, it's like, so that's the other reason why you guys haven't seen Rox as much, which is bullshit. But yeah.
So it's
mind your business.
What we keep reminding each other all the time, like, you know, nicely, supportively reminding each other all the time, is just keep it together. Whatever happens, don't lose your shit. Don't lose your shit. Don't lose your cool. Stay fashionable. You know, like,
stop, take a deep breath. What can you do immediately in that situation? And sometimes that answer is actually to just chill, to just stop and chill. Because that's the other thing. It's like, you know, we're talking about this, it's all up to you. Don't rely on other people. Well, don't also like stress yourself out to think that you're supposed to be go nonstop, you know, that kind of a thing. There's a balance. It's not always black and white.
And this is where it bleeds into what Jason was saying. So what I was listening to Jason say, I think on his Xanthos video, he's saying it's about, and this is what Jesus said, put in your words, put in your intentions, put in your thoughts into action. Like, to make something spiritual become physical, you have to do something physical for it to become, it's an exchange. You do an exchange, you do something physical. So with Jason, he said like his intent was basically to bring this knowledge to everybody, just awareness, bring this awareness so that he could increase everybody's informational field by this awareness of what's gone on in history, tying up all the dates and this cyclical event that happens every 138 years and the other one every 796, whatever it is. Oh crap!
What?
What happened? They just let off a little fucking flashbang in my brain.
What?
And I lost my train of thought.
Oh! I thought it was like a download. Like you got some bit of information.
It was a stop talking. Shit! What was I saying? It's about.
That's funny because I was trying to say something and I realized I was muted, and now I forgot what I was gonna say. Welcome to the Richie and Sarah show. Boom, 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 boom. I swear this happens every episode. It's okay. We'll regroup. So we were talking about. I know I was talking about. I said the word planned obsolescence is what's sticking with me. So you were talking about Matt's thing and everything taking longer. Somebody help us in the chat here. What was Richie's last words?
Don't lose your shit. Whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
Right. What you've got to do. It's kind of difficult to describe it. Other than to say you've got to basically detach yourself from what's happening mentally, not disassociate yourself, detach yourself. Like, and just where it was to a point where you can, if you're going to illustrate it in a physical way, it's like your consciousness is sat outside of your body looking at what's going on, and you've got to recognize that whatever you're feeling, like if you're feeling anger or if you're afraid or if you're any of this sort of lower vibrations, you've got to
I just spilled coffee all over myself.
We're talking about chocolate.
Sherry got me all excited.
Sorry, we need to talk about this chocolate. Yeah, you got a serious thing going
We
on
should
with
do a
chocolate.
whole episode. Well, you know what? We'll wait, Sherry. We'll wait for you to come on and be able to talk to us about it live. Okay. Sorry about that.
And Sherry, you know that chocolate only works in that way if it's got lots of cacao in it.
I want to
Yeah,
do.
that
I've
lint-
actually never had raw cacao, and I've seen them eat it like right out of the pod. I want to try it like that. I
It's
think
not
I
very
would
nice.
really
It's
like.
very bitter. It's very bitter, but that's what actually induces the endorphins.
I was gonna say, so
Oh.
it's sort of like, I kind of like lemon. Like, there's a point where it gets too bitter when it's been sitting in my cup. Like, you know, if you set it a certain way, it can really take on the bitterness when you take a sip of water. If you don't have a ton. But then there's like a point where it breaks through that bitterness and you get that little spark of the tart, and I really like it. Ooh, Sherry, 70% dark is. I don't like too heavy, and I'm sure you feel the same way. But like, too much is too much.
58%. This is only
Nice.
58%.
Well, I
And,
do.
right,
I do.
the
like
thing
that
is,
too.
I didn't have any choice. The lint was just too expensive, right? But I wanted to get some dark chocolate to put in a drink, and so but the only choice was freaking Nestle. So
It's okay.
I
Maybe
really
you
want to
should.
cut
Maybe you
Nestle
do
out.
need to come to Oregon just to have some like good quality ingredients for a while, and then we can go back to Tenerife or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's
Oh man,
there's like
with
powders
what?
you can get. We should also try that mushroom stuff because see, I think that could substitute in a small way. Like you could still add chocolate to it, and yeah.
So, because you mentioned coming over your way. Let's talk about what's going on in America right now, shall we? Let's talk about what's going on with old Mr. Brandon and Camel Toe and no, and let's talk about the recent emergencies that have been declared because of something to do with monkeys. But
So I didn't read up as are they going to enforce like because I haven't heard anything. Are they shutting everything down? What did they say about that?
I really
Actually,
think they are trying to prep the way, not only to it's all to disrupt the elections. They are
and
prepping the way.
just to remind ourselves, real quick, this particular V is not transmitted through respiratory droplets. Is that correct?
No, only through physical contact.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's been restricted to a certain demographic.
I just want to make sure that it's mentioned when they try to enforce those things that start with an M again.
But isn't it interesting that I remember back in the 80s, a certain Lord Faucimundo was spouting off about another thing that affected only one particular demographic. And he was right at the forefront of that. He was spearheading that little movement that, you know, basically has also been linked to current events. So, you know, it's just all a little bit weird, isn't it? But if you look at what's happened with, is it Carrie Lake? Is it Carrie Lake?
Actually, why don't you update me a little bit because clearly I'm not as updated on my own. And some of it I might go, oh yeah. But real quick, I just want to say nice to meet you, Natalie. She just said it was nice to put a face to your name. And anybody else in here, I'm sorry if I am saying hi to you. Some of our Goonies are in here, so it's hard for me not to be like, oh, Goonies. And Pushkin Earl Grey tea. Yeah. Where's mine? I might be out of it, actually. But I had some. I love Earl Grey so much. Bergamot, guys. Bergamot has so many good benefits for you. I have this. I started making these for my coworkers when I worked at the sleep lab, and I made them with roll-on. So I would take like 10 drops. This is called Good Night, but what's in it is bergamot, frankincense, and is it coriander? Lavender. And there's chamomile and geranium and cypress in here as well. That's new. They didn't always. It used to just be lavender, bergamot, and frankincense. That combo of just those three is really good. And very relaxing. Like immediately, like if you take a nice inhale of that, it's very relaxing. And I don't have any in my Earl Grey. I think I ran out. Okay, I don't know why I have to do show and tell with everything I have anyway.
So anyway, getting back to, they are prepping the way for messing it up, basically. Hey, Shivites, how you doing? Messing it up. When is it? October, November. The things that are expected to happen in October, November are they're just, oh God, it's just, yeah, they're setting the scene to steal it again. And with Carrie, I think it's Carrie Lake. I forget where it is, where she is, but she's the one. She's Republican, conservative Republican, and she's won it, but it looks like there's shenanigans. They're taking 2 days to count the vote.
Do you know what I said to my dad this morning as I was getting my coffee to come back up here? I was like, hey, Dad, I've decided, I was like, you might not like this, but I said, I've decided that using the terms Republican and Democrat are now racist because it's stereotyping. I'm sorry. I'm just like, this is why I'm so disconnected, to be totally honest with you, because, hi, Callum. Because
Callum, hey, mate.
we were just talking about you. You must have heard us. Anyway, like it's because it's so it feels it totally just feels like a production, and that really heavily started for me with Trump, because Trump was such an actor when he did those shows, and anytime he was on TV, he always had this, this persona, and he carried that right into his presidency.
Right.
So anyway, it was just hard for me.
The whole Biden administration, the entire production is so blatantly.
Yeah. And then Biden messing up so much, right?
Like,
so weird. Nobody's saying anything.
Does anybody out there really truly believe that they would really allow a man of such cognitive decline to be in charge of anything
and not address it? Not address that he's blatantly doing this over and over and over again. Instead, allowing the other side, which I want to remind you, Fox News is owned by Disney, and Fox and Disney is connected to what? BlackRock, right?
Yeah. Oh God, they're all BlackRock.
Oh, so BlackRock, this is welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
And then you look at, when you look at all news agencies, all news.
Can you tell I'm glad it's Saturday?
They're all listed as entertainment. They're all listed as entertainment. It's not what people think it is. Like, but everybody knows that, don't they? They all know that. But so it's just to remind everybody that this is just a bloody show.
Yes,
we've really got to get on with our own shit, man. We just got to get on with it. I don't know if anybody else.
We might. Here's the thing, though. I want you all to be ready in case there is things that you have to deal with. I think it's actually more like, because I already told you, Richie. I can't remember if I said this live, but I've kind of gotten this as a collection from other channels of what I think might happen. And one of the channels has really said it, but it does kind of make sense. Like. And I don't even know if I want to say it because I don't want to bring it to fruition either. No. But I've already decided in my mind that I've built this protective bubble over the surrounding area, like at least my town and the surrounding area. And so, but I do get this weird feeling like I might have to get up and go. I don't know though. I can't tell. It's like, because then I also get this feeling that you're going to come here because something's going to happen that way, and this is actually going to be really ideal area. Or maybe, hear me out, it will be ideal area after some disruption, but I don't know. And this is where it's fun to just let it be, just like, okay,
right.
let's see what okay. And you know what? I woke up, the first number I saw, I turned on the computer, first number I saw was 555, and that means supposedly in numerology that something is going to happen really soon. And I've been seeing that number almost every day. Chris and I too, yeah.
I'm gonna put myself out there, right? I'm gonna put myself out there because I've given this a lot of thought, like so much. I've been watching all of his work, and I've listened to a couple of other people, content creators, who have voiced, I mean, one certainly has voiced his opinion on a community post that I put up, and he's of an opinion that I've considered that opinion, and I still consider there's definitely a connection, but it's not, I don't think it's the connection that he thinks it is. But yeah, so I'm going to put myself out there and say that personally, I am going to pay more attention to what Jason's been saying and consider that in 18 years' time, something very, very, very big could be happening that's going to change everything. And leading up to it, I mean, I don't think it's something that's going to suddenly, there's going to be shit that is going to lead up to it because they know it's coming. They've tried to hide it from us, but they know it's coming. So, you know, everything that's going on is to try and corral us into where they want us to be when it happens.
What's confusing is how if there is like all this nasty stuff happening, how they're getting away with it and still being able to potentially ascend. But see, the thing is, like, what we're being told is they're not. And this is where it just gets like, who knows? This sometimes where I end up going back, especially in the holographic sense, that we actually created this environment ourselves to challenge ourselves. We created these evil characters, even potentially, and these scenarios, which seems so effed up because then that means we're allowing for these kids to get messed with. Like, I don't know. I have such a hard time with that back and forth.
Hang on.
I was going to get at something though. Yeah. Go. No, it's okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
but no, it's because you mentioned the kids. It's because you mentioned the kids, right? We know that happens, but we really truly don't know on what scale. And what it's been I think it has been inflated massively because of the fear and the emotions that it stirs up and it creates, because who wouldn't get infuriated and sickened by the thought of anything like that happening?
And I believe that, like, some people have, I believe that some of these victims have the strong ability, or like the universe allowed for them to leave their bodies a lot faster in those scenarios before they were, like, quote unquote killed, that they didn't have to suffer that trauma. I don't know. I have a hard time with it all.
When I say I know it happens, the only reason I say I know it happens is because I know that there just has to be, because there are people out there that are really good, there are people out there that are really bad. So it's just the law of duality. It's the law of this realm.
Callum has a good point. Like, what if we are, and this has to go with like this is why I don't even want to say what could potentially, like, prediction wise happen, you know, in the US. And it's this whole, he said, trick to create it. I'm echoing. Sorry, I can hear myself. It throws me off for a second. Okay, anyway, I think we're okay. And
you're right. It's weird if you just started echoing.
So, sorry, what I'm getting at is that even if something's going to happen in this whole, like, let it be, we push forward with this whole world that we envision, and we keep that in our head, and we keep trying to manifest that. We keep trying to see, we just envision that we can pull ourselves together, and no matter what's happening, like, even imagine, you know, off to your side, a bomb going off, you're walking past it, you're getting through it, and you're making your way out of it. It's not you're stuck in it, you know, because I think the more we envision that it's going to happen and it's going to be this, you know, horrible thing, the more likely that is exactly what's going to happen, and that's the environment you're going to create. So this also kind of comes back to what I love was Kevin was explaining he had a vision where he was sitting in the middle, I think, of a street or like a, you know, some where there's all these people. It's the end of times as he noted it. And everybody's freaking out because there's all this weirdness and chaos going on. And he just sits down and he just works on his chakras, and he emits this light, this big beam starts showing up out of his head. And it's that same concept of like, we're trying to do that now, because doing that now is what's going, because everybody took note of that and started to alter their, you know, their energy and their behavior to match that.
I think that's a good representation of exactly what we're doing now. That's exactly what's happening. I think it's why we're spread all over the earth. It's a divine thing that we're spread out as much as we are. I think it's the Matrix is tried to make sure that we're spread out as much as we are, because what I was saying, I can't remember if it was you or Rox. I was saying, you know, if you imagine if we were all born in the same village as we are, knowing what we know, if we were all in the same village, there's no.
We would stand together. So there was.
I don't think we know exactly just how much we would be able to do it. I think that would be, you know, we'd be able to do magic. We'd be able to actually do what people would consider to be magic. We would be able to, you know, change.
I was going to say that I actually watched Tim Cass last night, and I almost decided I was going to unfollow it, but I realized now I'm going to talk about, again, I've gotten relevant information in a way, and not information that it was already things I knew, but it's just ways, again, to tie things together, because some of these people we think we're on such different mindsets and different paths, and really we're not, right? And this coincides with people who are like the Bertaria movement, which is a little bit more on the heavier, maybe that's not the right words, because maybe not everybody is, and maybe it's just more Owen, but on the religious side of it. And then, you know, there's like, but that movement of that idea of the homesteading and doing, like, they have this idea to live with nature more or less like we talk about, in a very symbiotic way. And that, I think, is really important and an important part of this puzzle. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like Bertaria. I like the idea, the sort of spirit behind what he's doing, because he's still got a Christ consciousness in him.
So this is a perfect example to me too, why we would do well in small groups, because like he was on, he did a interview with Andreas.
Yes, I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen that he did it.
I watched.
I'm like Andreas, his hair. He's done his hair.
Recently. Oh yeah, because he's shaved here. Yeah, I like his look overall. I like, and I enjoy him for certain information. I find some of his commentary with other people interesting. At the same time, I think
he's an intelligent guy. He's a very intelligent, and he's
opening
as well.
And he's opening doors. And again, it's like one of those things. And that I think it was important for him to do this interview. Say that again.
I've got a lot of respect for Andreas. I like what he's doing. I don't. I mean, I can't. I'll be honest. I can't always watch him, but I like what he's doing. You know.
Yeah,
it's just he keeps touching his mouth.
That's exactly how I feel, actually.
Do I do that all the time? I'm always touching my face, man. Does that?
Oh, I'm always moving. Do you notice that? I'm always moving when I cannot sit still. This is why it's like.
But you know the importance of not staying still for too long. That's all it is. You're just constantly stretching yourself, making sure that you're moving. Me, it's because I have this thing inside me, and I can't. I find it very uncomfortable to watch myself, because I think, can you just sit still, please, just for 5 minutes? Will you just sit still?
When we're doing, we're doing more like in, you know, specific interviews that are going to last maybe about an hour, maybe a little more, you know, then I would say, yeah, maybe be a little more still for that if you can, just so the focus. But when we're talking like this, I think actually don't, and like be yourself. Like me, I was laughing. I was like, oh, that's good that, you know, you get to see me reacting to coffee spilling. You know what I'm saying? Like just raw and real, because that's really what we are, and that's what we kind of push, especially with our idea. So
As an honest observation though of just me, I do notice that in myself, and it does sometimes it bothers me, but I just let it go and in because I'm like, for
and
fuck's sake.
because
But
it's
it's
you.
this thing. It's like I feel it's. I feel like I've got this energy inside me, right? And it
This
wants
is
to
our
get out.
this
It
is our
wants to get
potentially our
out,
healer self. This is,
and I
you
can't.
ever, okay, when you were
So
a
I'm like,
kid, I would be by myself as a kid, and all of a sudden I would just feel this energy just rage up in me, and I would literally just shut out. I would just go, whoa! And I do that sometimes still. I used to do it to my ex, and he used to laugh at me, but I don't do it as much anymore because I've been, and I need more of a, I've been on and off with my like meditation schedule and doing Reiki and like, and I don't need to, I want to set up like a more of a routine with that to make sure I do these things on a more daily basis, and figuring that out, because I do enjoy it.
and
when I do it, I
this
just feel
is all.
better, and my energy feels
That's all.
more, you know.
That's all putting it into works as well. So that's taking your intent and you're actually making efforts and you're doing works and that all helps it. Whatever you're doing
Well, and
helps it to manifest.
I also started doing Reiki on my animals, and I realized that really helped release this energy that I would always feel like, ooh. But here's the funny thing: when I was a kid, I knew I used to like kind of laugh at myself and be like, what, am I like special because I can feel this? Like, can I actually change something with this energy? I used to think that without knowing anything about Qigong or like any of the Qi practices, kind of in that sense. Like, I'd never seen any of that. Like, I'd seen some martial arts stuff, but I had never actually seen that, you know, at that age. And I kind of knew something was, what is this energy? Now I'm understanding that if I harness it, I really work on it. We all, okay, and that's what we were talking about with Callum, is that you're like the Zen master. So I call Bernie our resident mad scientist. You're our resident wizard, or our resident sorcerer, like Mr. Zen man. Anyway, and that's sort of like, I see myself still having this being, because we're all different, still having this kind of like powerful voice, and being more confident, because that's the other thing. You'll hear me say I believe and I think a lot, when I should be able to stand a little bit more in my words, I realize, and stand behind it. Not saying like, don't you think, saying like, you know, ending it with that statement that I make, instead of trying to look for, you know, justification, but not being a bully at the same time. You know, I'm going to take in constructive criticism. If you think my statement needs to be altered a little bit, I don't need to say, don't you think? You can tell me if you don't agree, and I can take that, and it can be a balanced conversation. I don't mean to be going off topic if I am, Richie.
But that's I mean that's like a classic example of how two realities can coexist at the same time, right next to each other.
True.
You know, when two people disagree on something, that's two realities taking place right there.
Yeah, good point. Really good point. And sometimes we don't think about it because we don't pull back from it and look at it like that.
Yeah,
it's a really good point.
that's how I've been saying for a long time. That's how parallel dimensions, parallel universes. That's how a parallel universe exists, because each one of us contains our own version of this universe, according to our own perception. So there's how many people we've got? It says we've got 13 people watching. There's 2 of us here. That's 15 parallel universes, because each one of us, you can guarantee, our perception and our idea of what this universe is not the same. It might be the smallest little thing that is the difference, but it's still different. They're unique. Each one of us is unique, absolutely unique.
Exactly, and their perspective is absolutely unique. And I'm just realizing how important, like, it's so easy for us to judge. So we were on a Alpha Vedic chat the other day, and somebody started judging John Levi, and I get it. I get that, like, because it was
I was
what the
actually
guy
I was
said when
in
he
that.
was
I was
okay.
listening to that
Oh, okay.
stream, but I was doing it
And really, all he
incognito.
was in what the guy was saying about John Levi, which I actually do agree about, was that he's not really a community guy. He's just kind of making money off of getting to live off grid and make these cool videos. But I was like, he's releasing. But then somebody came back and said he's releasing really relevant information. I was like, exactly. And I really like how he's really open about who he is and what he's going through. Because I actually, that helped me a lot. No, I don't like when he's in his more depressive state, but I've heard him more and more come out of that and talk.
Yeah.
The way he talks through it is very intelligent. So I don't get the vibe that he's pulling anybody down into a depressive state. That's what I don't get it from that. If anything, he does pull me back into wanting to just go buy land and go disappear a little bit, which isn't like, because I do want community. At the end of the day, I want our community. I really, really want that. However it's going to manifest, I've been wanting that since before I even met you, and before I met most of these people.
I'm perfectly
I manifested this, at least I know that, like having our awesome little group and all this intelligence.
It's manifested because there's more, it's a very easy thing for us to, our image of it and our mind, our idea of it they're so similar anyway, because it's this kind of natural thing. I think that it's just natural for us to want to be in each other's company, and living in a,
to find your tribe.
Exactly. It's a tribe thing.
I love that when somebody started saying that, I was like, yes, because again, to me, that Native American culture, and this is where I was thinking about this the other day too, about how different in the United States, how different all the tribes were. And the Crow tribe, if I remember correctly, unless this was just how they were depicted, okay, because this could just be Hollywood in the history where we're told, which could be LBS. But they did show that the men in that tribe shaved their head. They usually left some hair, but they often shaved their majority of their head. And they were also considered some of the most gruesome as far as amongst the other tribes. Like the other tribes would describe the Crow tribe as being a more violent and harsh, like they scalped more of the other tribes if you fucked with them, kind of a thing. And so, but think about that now with the Native American theory of having long hair and because then you're like, it's like an extension of yourself, an extension of your aura, right? And so that theory, and then if that tribe had chopped their hair off, this is why it's so important for people to learn to, like, okay, we don't want to like let them, as long as they're not fucking with us too much and expanding too much, we just kind of let them do their thing.
I mean, I think what that is an example of the duality within this realm. This is what people have people need to appreciate. What again is nuance in everything, and there's dark and there's light in everything, pretty much. In all people. Certainly in all living conscious souls, particularly in the ones that are walking around saying, oh, love and light, love and light, love and light, love and light. Everything's love and light and positive and positive. And no, I don't have negative emotion. I don't allow the negative and all that. They're the ones with the biggest fucking dark shadows, in my opinion. I think they're the ones that are going to have a big shock when their shadow bursts out of the fucking cupboard and goes, oi! Slaps him across the back of the head. Because you can't deny your shadow. You cannot deny it. That's the whole point. You can't deny it. You can't expel it. You can't kill it. All you can do
is recognize it,
understand it, recognize it, and understand it, overstand it, appreciate it, be grateful for it, know that it's never going to leave you. It'll always be there, and you'll always be there for it as well.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And it's which version of you do you want to be? Because unfortunately, the one that's rooted in the ego, even if that's an ego that is actually good, you know, is generous and benevolent and compassionate, and you know, and has empathy and all of these things, but unfortunately it's just a little bit too aware of the facts that, and you know, and that's why they do it, because look how, you know, look how great I am, look how generous I am, look at all these great things that I do, which is, I think, what's happened with a lot of YouTube creators, you know. That's
actually a good thing to bring up, like
people.
healthy competition, you know. It's like, because I think that we can all actually be alphas respectively, but also, you know, realize that we can. That's why I talk about, like, we don't all have to be in one large group in a city. We can be in these little groups and have our own little alphas.
Also, if you remember, when we're talking about alpha, we're not talking about alpha in the sense that people think. It's not that, because that alpha state, that alpha male, requires a beta state mind. This is about being an alpha.
Actually, what we said is a true alpha, and a true alpha wolf doesn't go into beta. They're always an alpha during the hunt, during the whole thing. When they teach their young, when they teach their other, you know, sometimes they do let new wolves come into their crew, and there's like a whole thing that happens between, you know, where that wolf has to respect the hierarchy, right? And there's a whole conversation that happens. But even then, and it's like, what's a true leader? There was like, there's little people have done little like CGI or animation videos of dogs, and it was like, it's all frozen out, and they find this patch of water, and it goes, what a true leader looks like, and the guy or the dog is, you know, goes up to the water and snarls at his whole group to stay away. I get this water first, kind of an attitude. And this other dog's like, oh, well, F you. And he walks over where he sees this cracked water, and he just jumps on it and gets a whole bunch of more water to come out. And all the dogs go over there. And it's like, so what's a true leader? That's kind of that same idea. A true alpha. You're going to help your whole crew, and you're going to do it in a very calm and, you know, conscious manner.
It's not a dog eat dog world in that, like, it's not a dog eat dog.
It doesn't have to be survival of the fittest, like we say.
Yeah.
But I also agree that we're not supposed to like heavily enable people either. There's like there's a balance. It's not just black and white. There's gray. Yeah. It's not just good and evil. There's gray. And this is that good that good chaos. This is the chaos theory, you know, all over again. And I think this is potentially what we have to accept as part of this transition, that once we accept that this, you know, there is a balance, then that helps us move forward. And as far as if there's a transition in the, you know what I'm saying?
If people appreciate that, because if there's a balance, then in order for there to be a balance, that means that both sides have to exist in equal measure.
And that means if you've done evil acts, you're redeemable, and that's sort of the concept of the Bible anyway, right?
But it means that, you know, you've got to realize that every single one, just because you've got dark inside you doesn't mean that you're dark, kind of thing.
Yes, that too.
People can get confused by thoughts they have.
It's harnessing that power, like we've talked about too. Like, you have a fierceness for a reason, and this is exactly what I realized. I have a different way of expressing it than some other people, but that doesn't make it any less important. And if anything, it just is that what makes us stand apart. So like, it's gonna, You know, this is what we talk about, like with M. She's such a fierce warrior. And I saw that comment earlier, so I fucking love you, M. If you need to hear that again, fuck. Anyway,
we all love you, Em. Seriously, we all love
seriously,
you.
and I've
knew
told her
that
that
everyone had loved you.
M is a very strong force, and she even. I love it though. You call yourself out, like you are affected by certain things, but you call yourself out all the way through the process. So you should be patting
Em's
yourself
like
on the
extra
back
strong
immediately
Marmite.
for that, because that's
Em
huge.
is like extra strong Marmite. You know, she says it herself. Like, some people don't get M. Some people don't get it, and they, you know, what. It's like, yeah, whatever, man.
Well,
You're the one that's missing out.
but let's
If you
talk
don't
about
get
this.
it, you're missing out.
Like, Richie, I love you, but I think we all feel like there's just days where we just don't want to even talk to anybody. And that's where you don't take offense to this. I mean, and so it's sort of like we don't all need to have a full dose of everybody all at once, right? This is why I even joke, like, I need to take a week off, you know, because I am a strong voice. I realize that sometimes when I step away, it you know, then some of the things maybe I've said to settle in when it's needed with certain people I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking about our group. I'm just saying that's just for me too. There's like a whole thing. I know that mentally I just feel more relaxed. And this is my connection with nature, which has been like my whole life. I've been really connected with nature. And I can't wait until we get our property, because then we're going to be immersed in it 24/7. And that's going to be a little bit of that missing.
That's actually that's a good point to mention. What I was saying before in the treehouse, like, I forget who it was I was saying it to, but I said all we've got to do, because we're all wizards and, you know, and warlocks and witches, we're all capable of doing magic, just purely through thoughts and actions and the emotion that you feel while you're doing it. Having confidence that what you're doing is going to do something, you know, that it's not wasted time. You're really, and you know that because what you're doing is important, because it's not just for you, it's for everyone. It's for, you know, what I want to do. Yeah, of course, I'm involved in the feeling better and benefiting from it. Of course I am. But it's not about just me getting better and sorting myself out. That's not, if that was the only reason I was doing something, it's like, I can't, you know, I'll go and do something else, man. I'll go and do something else. But
so, and this is where, like, having that community, like having your peace. So, like, you know, Pushkin, if you're not cooking, like, we can set you up with whatever outlet you need that assists with our group, and somebody else can, because my dad loves cooking. He gets such joy out of making food for people and watching them eat it and enjoy it. Like, he puts so much love into his food. I always tell him that. I'm like, I can taste it. I can taste the love you put into this. You know what I mean? Sometimes though, it's funny when he doesn't think it's going to turn out good, and he kind of puts that in his head, you know, right away. You can kind of taste that too. Like, you know what I mean? It's like not quite as good as when he's like real excited about it, and then like we're eating it and it's just amazing. Most of the time anyway, regardless, I just think we all have a missing puzzle piece. This is sort of like, it's not a hierarchy system. It's like, say that again.
You should do a cooking show with your dad.
Well, I definitely am going to film 2 things. Me making bread, which I promised Sherry, so that's happening. And we could do it where we show it live in the time frame that it actually takes to make it, so people could go along with it. I don't think it's going to be good for me to actually film myself doing it live. It takes like all day to do.
I was going to say, you're talking 6 to 8 hours, really, aren't you, to make
and with the cooking, but I can get you through all the way through where it's called bouling. So there's like, you have to let the dough sit a couple of times to let it rise. And this is like the only complicated thing. And to just get it to that point. And again, I'm making this from the skin of a wild apple yeast. Or it's the skin from a wild apple, and it's the yeast that's cultivated from that skin, and then we keep it alive, you know. So it's like it's called a bread starter. We've had it now for like almost 3-4 years going on. And so we feed it. You feed it with just water and flour. That's all you do, and then you heat it to get it to bubble up. So
this is
anyway,
such a brilliant backstory for a horror movie, man. Like you're keeping this yeast out in the shed.
The bacteria.
Yeah, go and feed the yeast beast.
So one thing is that now that I've quit drinking, I really want to make kombucha, and I want to eventually do CBD infused kombucha, because I've had there's a lot of local places around here that make kombucha, and they infuse it in theirs. So good. And it makes me so relaxed. Like every time I've had one, I'm just like, and it's not like I'm tired. I'm not, I just feel, chill.
What is kombucha? What's in kombucha?
Kombucha so it's like a similar idea where it comes from like a good bacteria, but this time it's called a SCOBY. And I'm going to apologize because I can't remember like where you can get the origins. Can you make it like from the same thing, like a apple skin kind of a thing? Or is it fermented fruit? And then that turns into the SCOBY. But you more or less do end up fermenting some kind of fruit when you make it, because you're going to mix in all these flavors. And I had one, there's a local place, and they had sage, rosemary, mint, was it coriander? There was something else, and it was so good. And it was called Clear Mind, and it was a really like fresh, clean tasting kombucha. And it's good for good bacteria. So like if you're, I think again, it all comes down to intent, and you don't need this all the time. But if I could have it as like a little treat, every once in a while, that's sort of
it sounds alcoholic.
It's not, though. It's not alcoholic. Can I tell you what's weird? Can I tell you what's weird? This oil, this lion's mane oil that I put it in my coffee just now, and I'm feeling kind of like woo from it a little bit. It tastes kind of like alcohol in my coffee. It's not.
Lion's mane is the fungus that grows around the base of trees, and it hangs down like a lion's mane. And that's why they call it lion's mane.
I guess it's amazing for your nervous system, and it's supposed to have similar active ingredients to magic mushrooms. So that's why it's so good for you. And right now I'm just like, ooh, I'm feeling good.
Let me know if you get traces.
A little bit.
Do you know what though? The funny thing is that ever since I did hallucinogenitals. Ever since I did hallucinogenitals, it's like I can see that every time I've still got, if I want to pay attention to it, the tracer is still there. I can still like see my hand following my hand going. It's kind of cool. And I can see all the things. It's like I can, because I used to induce a lot of my own hallucinations. On acid, I did. I used to just sit there and think about something, and it happened.
I do feel like you had to kind of like, when I was on mushrooms, I had to kind of sit and allow it to, like, if I moved around too much, it became too like more just made me sick and nauseous. But if I stopped and I really tuck in the scene, then all of a sudden it's like it would start kind of developing around me. But it was never crazy. We went into the backyard. I remember.
You nailed the spelling, Em. Yes, hallucinogenitals. It's basically, when you're tripping out, and all you see is boobies. There's boobies everywhere.
And I did want to go back real quick to the kombucha, because Callum, when you say no specific SCOBY, so I could make it from like wild, I think, that's your cat. I could make that from wild apple yeast or apple skin. It's like I can't spit it out. And then Vanish, that's really interesting that your mom had a well, I gotta go back now. Had a natural healing set. Like, what was that? Not a center, but a academy. She ran one. Oh, she was
Healing
in
Academy.
Sorry, so she like went to one. I'm you know how bad, like right now, like I keep going, I want to go be an ND, but it's like I don't have why do I have to have initials after my name? I've had this conversation with Callum too. I don't to get into the work that I want to do. I don't need to have, I need to like let that go, because what I should rather do is take time to read and invest some one-on-one discussions with some people who have really studied things for a long time. Like Amanda would be wonderful to connect with a little deeper.
Dr.
Berlando too, and spend time with, go to a workshop, and even be able to say, maybe I will spend a little money there, but just be able to say, I've spent this time with these people to educate myself, and that's my, credentialing.
And
that's a
reflects
apprenticeship.
That makes me think about exactly what Jason Brashear says about increasing your energetic informational field, which then increases your sovereignty. It increases your ability to discern and everything. It's, it gives, it may, and it also, it's because he says that the simulacrum of the AIX cannot read our thoughts. That's kind of an issue for it. It can't read our thoughts. It can read our serotonin levels and our hormone levels and our adrenaline levels, and it can tell if we're depressed or if we're angry, but it can't read our thoughts. If you're plugged into the Matrix, it will read your thoughts when you're plugged into it, like playing the game and just not switched on, and you don't know. But us, we're errants. We just won't fit into it. We refuse it. And because of the law of the simulacrum, it means that we're able to create our own subjective realities, essentially. And we can have our subjective realities merge.
Well, that's like a healing session. So like a group healing session. You know what I mean? That shows the power of us all being able to manifest something, especially when we come together. So this is why this is the kind of experiments I want to do in when we get our healing center.
Cheers, Valley.
Online medical, you can join. Okay. If you have I was gonna say if you have a link, but we can't adjust mods, and Rox has had so many issues, she's not in here right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up.
I don't know if it was Rox that took away everybody's wrenches or if it was YouTube that did it, but nobody's got a wrench in Rox's chat anymore, so it means nobody can leave links or anything. And Rox hasn't got access to her channel. YouTube messed her around. So they do it. It's cool, man. They just do everything they can to make it difficult, but that's all they can do is make it difficult.
Yeah.
They can't stop.
One thing is, I'm really good at, and I haven't tried this with her yet, I was thinking about it, was to sit and talk her through how to, like, either try to get her to remember the password. Because, like, here's the thing. I think you have to do this series where you log in enough times that you don't get kicked out. So you don't, like, send a notice, but you do it enough that you keep trying, and then you go back in and you try again later until you figure it out. Because I've had this happen. Because I think that's where we're at now. Because she can't get in through the back way is what my understanding is anymore. There's some, right?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, I know what my issue with Facebook is. They're sending me a reset code to a fucking old number that I don't even have anymore. And there's no option to change where they're sending the code to. so I can't reset my password.
It's called. By the way, this Andrew Kaufman website is called TrueMedicineLibrary.com, and there's also AndrewKaufmanMD.com. So both of those options for his information. And I'm going to make sure that I have these bookmarked because I think I might already, but I have so much I want to read. And that's the other thing, like why I need to disconnect, because I need to make sure I'm taking time to read and I want to study. Like I'm in that mode mentally right now where I just want to take in as much information as I can. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore some comments. Pushkin, my dad is from Germany. So my last name, we found out, was changed, and there's a bunch of variations of it, but we found the actual town that we're associated with, and it's actually considered to be in Switzerland, which is the really interesting part, on the border of Germany. It was bombed in World War II because they thought it was a part of Germany. It has a very German name to it, and this is where I found out that my name meant House of Sheep. So I still laugh at that, because I think the irony with my whole life and where I am now and stuff, and like my number, my birth number, or whatever you want to call it, I think it's all fascinating. So, and then alcohol thing with kombucha, you are definitely correct. I think, does it technically have a low level of alcohol in all of it? Now that I'm thinking about it, because I think I forgot that, which means that I haven't been as sober as I thought I was, because I had a couple kombuchas. Damn it. They're probably considered like non-alcoholic beers, which is like actually has a tiny bit of alcohol in it. But there's this whole brand coming out called, we were talking about this, I can't remember if we were talking about it live, but for sort of that mocktail, or what do you like to call it, Richie? Not mocktail. You don't like that
virgin.
Word. A virgin, which I don't
virgin,
know if I like that word.
A virgin Bloody Mary, a virgin Sex on the Beach, a virgin slippery nipple. You can't actually have a virgin slippery nipple.
You can have.
I don't know what the
alternative
is.
My Friday night drink actually was water, but I put in a bunch of lime juice in it, and with ice, and had like a lemon wedge. So it tasted kind of like I was having like a lime and lemon, because I used to make that in gin, and that's all I would put, and I'd actually add a little water. So I'm really like watering down the alcohol, right? But I actually liked that the way it mixed. I used to make that drink, but instead of the alcohol, I just had the lime and the lemon in it, and it was very satisfying. And it helps clean out. I'm detoxing. My face has been breaking out this whole week, and I was like, oh wow! But I realized like how my pores actually feel softer. My skin feels softer, and I can tell it's changing. So I know I'm detoxing. And they say when you lose weight, you also start getting acne, because it's literally coming out of your pores. It's kind of gross, but you can see my witch's hanging mark is a little less right now too.
I don't know what that is. What's the witch's hanging?
I told you about this, like that I noticed in this last year that these lines showed up on my neck.
Oh, do you mean creases?
Say that again.
Do you mean like creases?
Yeah. And I think
folding.
And I was like, I've actually been overall, like from where I used to be, I'm overall down in weight. So I was like, I don't understand why those were showing up, right? It didn't even really look like, it doesn't even really look like it's, Well, I had this, I had like a past life blip, and I've already questioned if at one point I was a witch, but I'm pretty sure I was hung at least. I got the, but I've noticed that since I've lost a little bit of weight recently, that it's a little less obvious, the lines.
You might have been.
They're real distinct. They're real distinct. And it's like, I don't have them up here. I don't have them down here. I have just 1 and 2 right here. And they almost, anyway.
Adrienne Elise says, and there's an aspect to this that I don't like. I don't agree with, because it's sort of like, oh, we've always been the victims, right? But I guess you're only a victim if you make yourself a victim, as in if you say, oh, I'm getting persecuted and I'm a victim. If you're just getting on with it, other people might see you as a victim, but you don't actually have to be a victim. So in that sense, we don't have to have been victims. But
how are we so
it
empathetic?
could be that we've,
Why are we
but
so
we've,
sorry. Go ahead.
no, we've always, in every incarnation, the soul that we're carrying and the consciousness that results, and that, in my opinion, consciousness is the marriage of ego and soul, and and higher. It's realizing, it's the once you're conscious, you're consciously aware. You're consciously aware that you are more than just your body. That's it. It's basically that's conscious, being consciously aware that you're more than just your body, and there's a lot more to what's going on here than what we see and what what meets the eye, kind of thing. But I don't really know where I was going with that. Pushkin, because I've just seen this comment and it's done my train of thought again. But daiquiris, Pushkin. I love daiquiris, right? I love a virgin banana daiquiri.
Oh, blended, man.
Virgin banana daiquiri is Are you right?
It's just like having a. Oh yeah, this was. I'm sorry. PJ CNET. I'm sorry. I don't know if I should say that differently, but he was mentioning Dr. Kaufman, or maybe somebody else might have. Excuse me. I've actually been doing better with my drainage. I was gonna gurgle live if you want some black seed pepper, because it's wonderful for draining. Yeah, you just sit there and you gurgle it. I learned that from, I want to say I was watching the Mark Atwood show, and there's a guy on there who does a bunch of alternative treatment type things, and I can't remember his name right now, and I know I have him bookmarked. He had mentioned for allergies, one of the best things was gurgling every day this black seed oil. And I am still getting to the core of like my allergy issues, and I haven't adjusted the way I smoke, which is my next step, because I think that's connected. But this is really helping. It's making a huge difference overall with just feeling, because lately, like they're definitely dumping stuff nearby, and we're under fire watch warning this weekend, which I find very interesting considering we had heavy rain until into July this year, which has not actually been common for us for the last few years. So if we get a fire in this area, I'm calling bullshit.
Stay Clint, just want to respond to that. I didn't. What I said was that's what Jason Bashir's is saying in Archaics, but I do actually 100% agree with it. And to deny that it's possible is just so deluded, man, because you can change your own reality.
And this again is
your reality can be completely different to somebody else's, and so it is subjectively to you a different reality than somebody else. So
this is again though, like,
what's wrong with your brain, mate? What's wrong with your brain? Like, seriously, I do not perceive what you perceive. You do not perceive what I perceive. Therefore,
so this comes down.
They're subjective realities,
and this comes down again to this whole, like, what is the power of our words? We know we have scientific evidence, somatics, that this is going on. So let me just pull some of that up real quick here for you.
Oh yeah, with Dr. Emoto and the ice crystals, and what we can do with rice.
So this is again going to connect with the group healing. If a group of people can come together and put an intention on one person and help change their outcome. So Dion's kind of an example of that in our community. I was calling to him and I kept, putting this vision, but there was already people that had been there and were putting light over him, because this is same thing as our Goonie Leafy. When he when I went to go focus on him, there was already a light over, and I was adding to it or trying to add to it, but I was also calling to him, and we had a whole healing intention. We did it live. We did it through commentary. India put up, and Hippie Shake put out videos to again project that healing intent. So let me just share
basically the visualization of him kicking this thing in the ass and coming home quick, smart.
Yep.
And that's,
yep.
I think it's, it's an ongoing thing that he's battling against, but he's kicking it in the ass, man.
So at this point, if things are going to get this bad anyway, it's like, why not try? Why not like try to get our,
the alternative is to accept it. Do you want to just accept it? I don't. I'm not going to accept it. I'm sorry, I'm not accepting it. I don't accept it. And if it's deluded, I don't care. I'll just be deluded. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Really? Because, at the end of the day, I'm the one perceiving what's going on. You're the one perceiving what's going on. I don't know what you're feeling. You don't know what I'm feeling. We can try and describe it to each other. We can try.
Well,
we can try to describe our lives. We can try to describe our lives to each other and the experiences that have shaped us as people. We can do our best to describe those to each other. But we can't, can we? Not one of us really.
One of my favorite things about our connection, and I think I feel this with a lot of us, but I can read you. I even will look at you like, you need to get going, don't you? You look like, you know what I mean? Like I can vibe what you're going to, how you feel you're going to say, or understand where you're coming from. There's been this, we've built that. And again, I feel that with a lot of the other people. This comes from that empathetic side of things, and just trying. And here's the other thing. It's not taking it personal. It's so hard. It is so fucking hard to not take things personal. But the minute you don't, all of a sudden you will see it flip. And I have done that that's the main thing I've worked on, because my expectations on other people were so high. And once actually I realized, like, a relationship I have with somebody close, once I realized their expectations of me were really high, and I was able to step away from that and really take I already kind of knew it, but it all came 360 and was like, okay, and then as soon as I started doing that over and over again and just backing off, the more I saw the flow I wanted to see and the calm I needed to make it through. And I'm still working number one. There's two main triggers I still get. And I still get triggers with friendships. I have a long history of broken friendships, like really shitty shit. Like I was dating this guy. This is in high school. Had a really close group of girlfriends, right? And I got grounded for a party we all had at my house. And so I'm gone, and the all group of girls all go to this party, right? And my friends knew, and they encouraged my other friend to hook up with the guy I was dating at the time. And I refused to. I was in high school. I was very much adamant I wasn't going to lose my virginity to some random guy. And we were dating, but we weren't like really dating. We hadn't been together. And he kept pressuring me to have sex, right? Anyway, they fucked at the party. And then like the next day, everybody had to tell me about it. And my girlfriends, though, were like a part of this. Like, yeah, they should get together. And it's like, what the fuck? That's so fucked up. Like, you don't do that to each other, And then I had something in third grade happen where these girls got this other girl to become my friend so that we would start writing letters back and forth to each other. But the whole time she was giving my notes to this, and they were like the popular girls, right? It was kind of a overall smaller community. So that's why this kind of shit happens. And just to make fun of me. And so one time I had this crush. This is third grade. I had a crush on this guy, and it was like, I wrote this big note, and it was like, and I'm not going to say his name, but it was like his full name, and then it was like love and my full name, Sarah, my middle name, last name. And they took it, and they took stones, and they took my note, and they went out in the middle of recess. and they put it out right in the middle of like the Foursquare area where everybody played Foursquare. So everybody saw my note, and it was so they did this whole thing where they worked it up to that point, and then they exposed themselves, because then the three of them were standing there laughing and pointing at me. Ha ha ha, we got you to think she was your friend. That's so fucked up. That's straight out of Mean Girls, you know, that movie. The third grade just happened.
Fucking the thing is,
I was
don't
made
know
fun of a lot because
how-
I was weird and I was outspoken, and I wasn't afraid to. And even through a lot of that, I still continued to be the weird and outspoken one. So I've learned, I think, early on to take on people. Like, why are they projecting that onto me? I used to, why me? You know, and it's because you're a light. It's like a mosquito being attracted to the light and zapping themselves because they can't handle it, and they take out some of your energy at the same time. And anyway, yeah, it's real interesting. So I just want to share that because they're very personal things, but they were very eye-opening things for me, especially as I've gotten older. They were really just projecting whatever was going on in their own family lives and their own home lives onto me, because they don't want somebody being weird and loud.
Well, it was because they were like you say, because of the light. It's like I think that, you know, people have always treated me a little bit weird and looked at me a little bit strange. And I just resigned myself to the fact that, right, yeah, it's because I'm different. I feel different to everybody. I don't feel better than anybody. I just feel different. Like I just don't get. Although I understand most people, it's like I don't get it, man. Why some people are the way they are, but then I do get it, and it's you know, it's just we've got this, whatever it is emanating from us. I think it's energy and it's light and it's whatever it is. It's this direct connection to the original plan that was uncorrupted originally, and we've got a direct connection to that. So yeah, it's so I'm getting distracted by old Clint Eastwood again.
I saw Ardwin. Yes, I am not Roxanne, because no one, you know, Roxanne turning.
Yeah,
the joke was like, if Roxanne turned into me, can I turn back into Roxanne?
So, like, if anybody that's been around since the beginning remembers Janine, Dolly Daydream, because we were always when me and Rox started, it was just me and Rox, but then Janine joined, and we actually turned it into the show that became the Really Woke Show. So we had three hosts originally, and Janine, you know, there's nothing bad happened. It's just Janine's gone.
Janine has her own channel that she's doing well with. If you guys haven't checked her channel out, I said Janine's got her own channel that she's doing well with.
Yeah, she's doing great, and
and she's doing a lot of healing.
She's on the same path. She's just in a different place, focusing on different things.
Yeah.
And they're actually, it's the things that we're all, you know, I'm trying to say, actually, we need to be focusing more on this now, because focusing on this, all we're doing is recreating it, perpetuating it, giving it more energy, giving it more. The more we focus on it, you know, where attention goes, energy flows. So,
and I've noticed that. Let's start manifesting what we want. Let's pretend we can break whatever is about to happen, that we can change that outcome. And if we can't, fuck it, then we're better prepared mentally to dive into it, because and whatever, because something in my opinion, it's got to end in a good way. And my only thing that I would recommend for anybody is to challenge, if you're presented with the light when you pass and you're presented with a family member. I've seen a lot of depictions that we're allowed to ask a million questions, and that's definitely what I'm going to do. I'm not going to just go back into the light, potentially going back into a cycle, because that's sort of what I see happening
Oh, are you talking about the point of death?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm saying no one of us is going to die. No, not anytime soon.
Well,
We're all going
I
to see this
know.
through.
I mean,
It's
like
part of
leaving
it's
this,
part of the
leaving.
reward. It's part of the reward to see this through. It's part of this is the thing. We just we got to do the work. We've got to see it through, and at the end of it, we're going to get to experience life as it should be on this
I
earth
agree.
before we die. Before we die. So
Yep.
if that's in another fucking 40 years' time, we're going to be alive, fit and well and healthy and good enough to be able to experience it. And I feel that so strongly, I don't care what anybody says. If you don't agree, that's fine.
That's
That's
yep.
cool for you. If you don't agree and you think it's going to be really scary and all horrible and shitty, I feel bad for you because, you know, it doesn't need to be like that. You don't know what's going to
There's a
happen. Neither do
reason.
I.
There's a reason I feel
I feel it
excited.
strongly.
And like we talked about, like there's a weird energy. Like we can feel the nervousness from everything, but we personally, I felt excited because I know that there's a transition happening. It's a change for good. Whether it might be a little scary at first. My internet name is or my YouTube channel name is Mindful Exposures. And you can look it up with the youtube.com/c/mindful exposures.
I'll put a link in the
Thank you. I'm the backup channel. Richie overall has more content because he's got where he's been playing some of his other shows and such. So I'm sort of the backup to the Wake Up Show right now. In the future, there's potentially going to be a little bit of a segue with some shorts that I might make, not like shorts, but like 5-minute videos that I might end up starting to do. But we'll see. I'm not sure. And that's the same thing. Richie has shorts. He does little shorts and little clips of our videos, which are really fun to watch that you can see on his channel that I don't have on mine. I'm going to upload some though, because you've sent me several. So I was going to upload like some of the clips, from the Wide Awake. And I'm on Instagram if anybody's on there. I don't really use it. You can private message me on there. Just don't be surprised if it takes me a day or more to get back to you. But my handle is Mindful Exposures there too. So I'm going to gargle this right now because I'm feeling like it would be very helpful with my sinuses at the moment. So I'm going to mute myself, but I'll let you guys watch. And I just go back like this when I do it and gargle it for about a minute, but we'll do it live just for fun. So this is called black seed cumin oil. What I've discovered is I have really deep sinuses. I know they come down here, and I've actually had x-rays that show that my sinuses come down right up against my teeth. And I can feel pressure changes all the time, especially if I go up to the mountains. And I've even done the earwax candle, which is a beeswax candle that you stick in your ear and you light it, and the smoke actually pulls the earwax out of your ear. And it's been over 7 years since I've done that, and the amount it pulled out was disgusting. So I've thought about that again. But in the meantime, I need to get to the core of what's causing the inflammation to begin with, what's causing that buildup, because if I can stop that, then it should all break down and I shouldn't need to do all these other things to resolve it. But I'm going through another whole like detox thing, and I can't wait till I'm at 30 days with no alcohol, because I know I just posted this thing too about your body at 35 days, your body recycles itself, the skin recycles itself. So anything, if you think about that, anything you consumed in your body, it's going to recreate or regenerate cells from that. So if you can abstain from something from 35 days, this treat thing that you make an excuse for all the time, but just think if you abstain from it for that long, you might be amazed at how you feel, and then how the craving feels after that. You might drink it again and realize you really don't, or eat it again and realize you really don't like it. So I've heard that Valley about people doing the earwax candle and not getting much results. It was disgusting. It filled up over half of the candle, and I cut it to see what was in it, and it was just people say that I've heard though, this is kind of like the ionic foot bath. So there's like this foot bath where it supposedly pulls all these toxins out of your feet. And I've actually heard that the reaction in the water when you're doing that is what causes it to get nasty brown and like foamy, and that it's not actually toxins getting pulled out. And so I've heard something similar to the candle, like it's not supposedly your earwax, it's potentially just like the beeswax. It definitely had a different consistency though. It definitely looked like wax when I, because I'm very curious, so I like had to cut it open and look at it and stuff. But I noticed a huge difference after I did that, because I used to go drive up into the mountains and my ears would pop and they would stay popped for over 24 hours, which is very uncomfortable. And I did that. And after that, I stopped having that issue. And now it's like kind of coming back. But I also think that because I've been doing all these other things to detox, I've been doing, all these fasting, I've been cutting out all these other foods, that I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm getting to the bottom of it. I'm just not there 100%. So I'm going to do this.
I haven't had it for a while, thankfully. But when I was in Portugal, I had it a lot. And over here, I've had it here in Tenerife as well, but not. I can't remember the last time it happened, but when my ears just block up, and when you're talking, suddenly you're all sort of muffled but loud in your head, and the worst thing is singing when it's like that. It's really difficult to sing because it's not the same as blocking your ears like that. Although it sort of is, but because you can hear yourself and hear if you're in tune if you block your ears or if you block one ear. But it's not like that. It's like it makes everything muffled in your head. I hate that. I thought it was just like over for me. I thought it was overproduction of earwax. But look, ladies and gents, we've been going for a couple of hours. We're on Rox's channel. Callum, do you want to pop in? Introduce everybody on Rox's channel to Callum. Anybody that hasn't met him before, I don't know if he wants to, but I'm going to I'll send you a Skype.
Ended up swallowing that way too fast because it kind of went south on me. But whatever I did, I kind of coughed a little when I had it in my mouth, and it went up into you can kind of hear me processing it. It went up into my sinuses, and I can feel like my eyes were watering because I can feel that it really got in there. And you can actually, when they instruct you to take this, they just tell you swallow like 1 or 2 teaspoons. So what I was trying to do is gargle it, and then I'll swallow it.
How much is that a pot?
This wasn't that crazy expensive, if I remember, but I'm really specific about where it comes from.
That's not very much. What was that? 200 milliliters? No.
240.
240. 240. Hey, that's not a bad guesstimate, man, was it? That was not a bad guesstimate on the volume of that bottle there. That shows that maybe I've had a lot of medication in bottles or something. I got some idea of what size the bottles are of medication.
Yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
So how much is that for 240 milliliters?
I'm going to say it was $20. And
$20
it's organic.
And you don't think that's a lot of money?
But look at how much I've used. See, that's what I'm getting.
So how far do you think it will go?
This will last me the way I'm taking it 2 months to 3 months. No, probably 4 months.
That's not bad. Spread that over. Yeah. I was thinking, bloody hell, how many of those a week? How many bottles a week do you go through that? Or
I'm actually hoping. Hear me out. I'm hoping I only do this once, and that's it. I don't think I should need to buy another bottle. And that's kind of how I feel about what?
Is it just remind us again what that was? Black pepper.
Oh, this is black seed cumin seed oil.
Right.
You already got a demonstration. Technically, it kind of failed on me, but what I was trying to do and what I've learned is that if you gargle it every morning and you kind of keep it in the back of your throat for like a minute or two, yeah, Callum, jump on. And
yeah, I've sent you.
Perfect.
I've Skyped it.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. We're on Roxanne's StreamYard, so it's a little different. I could have sent the link though. But anyway, so what was I saying? The black seed cumin oil. So what I understand is if you gargle like a teaspoon or two for a minute or two, then you can swallow it, but it's supposed to help like in it. I can feel it. You know, even when I smell it, that pepper really helps clear out your sinuses. And you're going to hear me. I apologize. I don't mean to sound gross, but you can hear I'm like swallowing it because I'm draining right now.
I don't, for me, this is just for me, like, I think there must be benefits behind doing all those things, right? But I think all I think to myself is, let's go back 500 years. Like, what was available to people?
Well, say that again. Oh, yeah.
What was available to us and where did we get it from? What were the sources?
Well, this was probably available, like pepper, you know, black pepper, because that's pretty common. But this is a good discussion because Cam and Kelly have talked about this. Sonia was reiterating this in the chat when we were all talking about it, that it's like, do we even, you know, we probably didn't eat much back then. It was probably mostly fresh fruit when we did. But if you notice, they say that there was, you know, gardens set up, but they don't really talk about farming. Farming actually, they say came later on. You know, they don't say that the Romans like farmed like we think they farmed or like we farm today. And think about our setups now compared to like the civilization back then. Supposedly there was mass civilization, right? So there would have had to have been mass farming if that's supposedly how we're supposed to survive, but there wasn't. So there's a lot of conversation, and the toilets were set up different and the whole ecosystem was set up different. So it's like, did we really have much waste at all?
Well, I mean, the one narrative that we're fed isn't a very nice one, like the Victorian era and the Edwardian.
That's played. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Narrative that we were fed, which we all agree is obviously a bullshit narrative. So, what was it like? What, you know? Why didn't we need to have toilets inside? Really? You know, it's not because everybody was chucking their shit out on the fucking pavement. Perhaps it's because people didn't shit as much.
Exactly. What if the food we got so much energy from, there was very little waste produced from it?
I mean,
really weren't spitting much at all.
To be fair, in Victorian and Roman times, Victorian times and that's probably what they actually got us to do. But in the time before these parasites took over, when everything was working the way it should, then it's, you know, maybe we didn't. Like I've said this, I've been saying this for a while, because of my own personal experience with food. We don't need it. There's definitely, like, we do need a little bit, but I don't know exactly how much. And I do think that it would be possible to become breatharian and just literally live on water. If you live on living water, then, you know, I think that's absolutely possible. But one of the things about this realm is that it's nice to eat, it's pleasurable, and I think that's one of the reasons why it was created, was so that we could enjoy the taste of the fruit on the tree, and have a tree that grows out of a seed, and then gives birth to these beautiful fruits that have the seeds inside them to go and replant it again. But the fruit is absolutely delicious, and this arrangement that it's got to be dispersed, and
yeah, and it's unique where you may not ever have it again, or maybe it'll come back around another time, but it's like you enjoy it for that moment.
Particularly with avocado,
yeah,
because avocado doesn't grow true to seed. So you can have the most amazing avocado you've ever tasted in your life, and you plant the seed, and what actually grows out, the fruit that bears, tastes like shit in comparison. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Callum.
Hello. Just coming on, my dog's going nuts because there was firecrackers just let off.
I just saw a light.
I don't know any dog that likes firecrackers and fireworks and stuff.
I know dogs that can be pretty chill around it, but not my poor babies. It's like the tiniest sound will set one of them off.
Yeah,
when it was firecracker night, and they were going off like all day, all night, for like 2 days or something. He was fine. It's just those random ones that get set off weeks after or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's just the one. It's like, oh, that's wrong. That's crazy. But he was chill.
So, ladies and gents, I just want to say to the chat room, to those people that are here, because it's Roxanne's channel.
This guy.
So the people that are here from Roxanne, for Roxanne, we've got technical issues with Roxanne's internet connection and everything, and she's doing her best. If she can get back on, I know she will, because it was we were talking about something earlier, and we were like, should we do an impromptu Real Relevant Radio? Yes, let's do it. And we were trying to decide whether to do it on, because we've got 2 StreamYards. Well, we've actually got 3, but on Rox's StreamYard, which is the free StreamYard now, that's got all these videos and stuff on it, and then Sarah's StreamYard has got a bunch of other videos on it and stuff. It was like, but Sarah's StreamYard doesn't have access to Roxanne's channel, so we said let's do it on Roxanne's channel, because Roxanne hasn't done anything for ages. So because we haven't been able to stream the show because she's been locked out of her channel, so we can't link it to the StreamYard. So that's the reason for coming on to Roxanne's channel today. And those people that are just from Roxanne's channel and they don't know about they don't know about me or Sarah from the Wide Awake show, this is Callum, and Callum's kind of one of our regular panel members on the Sunday show live.
A resident wizard
And guru, elder.
And he's his like, lovely sidekick buddy. My buddy and me.
He's like Obi-Wan. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's appropriate.
Yeah. How's lockdown? Well, no, because right. So Roxanne's StreamYard isn't locked out of her channel. So because I'm on Roxanne's team, I don't have access to her channel other than to say, let's broadcast to this channel and do it like that. But I don't, she's locked out of going into her channel to link it to the other StreamYard, she needs to put her password in and everything, and she's locked out of it, so she can't reset the password or anything, so we can't link it to Sarah's StreamYard, because Sarah's paying a monthly subscription, can stream to more than one channel. We'd be able to stream to 3 channels then, to Roxanne's, mine, and Sarah's Mindful Exposures. Yeah, it's just a ball ache, man. YouTube and are not making it easy for anybody, and they're
It's just
currently
trying
going through
to.
Roxanne's. They're
That's
currently
right.
going through Roxanne's videos, and deleting them and sending her messages saying, "We've deleted this channel. We've deleted this video because it violates our terms and conditions, but we're not going to give you a strike because it was, 18 months ago or whatever."
Well,
They're taking
you
down
know,
some of
I
the
see it.
truth.
If they don't give us a strike that's big, and if we can have it all on a backup channel, all these videos, then we can just reference if you want to go watch the old shit, go back. But otherwise, if they're allowing us to still do lives and then they just delete it like a month later, oh well. That's how I see it. A lot of people don't go back and watch. I mean, I did when I first started watching your channel. I definitely went back and Bernie's and watched some of those other episodes. But then there's a point like now, I'm overwhelmed by so many videos. I the only persons I'm going to go back on is ours but you're kind of doing that for me right now because I'm supposed to be doing that for Cam, and Bernie is doing a little more of the timestamp stuff. So it's not because I don't want to. If I had the time, I'm actually at the point where I'm realizing I'm actually going to shut my internet off now, like for full days, and just be totally, so that I'm forced to get completely, like, just step away from the computer, pretend like my computer's shut down for the day, and do everything away from it. And I've convinced my
So that
parents to have like no Wi-Fi
so you
days.
can be totally zen.
Digital
Yes.
detox.
Digital detox, so I can get to Callum status. I'm still clearing stuff out here. Holy cow.
It's never ending, by the way.
Well, you're talking about with my hair.
Clearing stuff out is never ending.
My hair is going through some interesting cycles, and it keeps like on and off flaking. And I know it's because it's healing. And then like because I've had this spot, like almost like a rosacea, eczema type spot on the back of my head. And that has gone through a couple of phases where it actually, it bumped a little, then it flaked again. And now I think it's fully gone.
When you give stuff the time to heal as well, like we can have things for a very long time, but until we give it the time to heal and say, and set that with our body and say, now this is what's going to happen, then it'll go through the changes and the stages when you put it into that state so it can happen. So it is sort of saying, yes, I have the time for this. Where we say most of the time we say I don't have the time for anything.
I've done that with my teeth. I've decided I don't want any more fillings. I don't want any more work done on my teeth. I kind of feel like it's the eye industry. Like you have to go in there so many times, like every 6 months, and every 6 months they seem to find an issue, right? And I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm not going.
Your appointment is due.
Yeah. Good point. And so instead, I put this intent now. My teeth are actually going to push out the current fillings that are in there and regrow themselves. They're going to fix any of the issues. There's going to be no cavities. And honestly, I was having this issue. I realized it was my sinuses, but I've had very little sensitivity with my teeth since I've actually set that motion. And I'm getting it out of my head that I actually haven't been to the dentist in a year. And I normally used to go like just regularly. And I'm
that's
over
a good thing. You don't need a checkup. It's the checkups and the tests and all of these things, which are sales tactics, and that's all they are.
It's been 10 years plus since I've been to a dentist, and that was for an emergency extraction.
And your teeth look damn good.
That would be the only reason to go to a dentist. I think is to actually have something pulled out or whatnot. If it's at that point, because there is a choice we can do there where it's like this is better to come out than to go through anything. And they're good. It's the same as like a hospital. I'd go to a hospital if I needed
emergency stitches or something that somebody can do themselves. Like this is what we've talked about.
And then I'd be on them. I'd be like, don't you inject me with anything.
This is where, yeah. This is where emergency medicine is still really important, like that trauma immediate care, because you can actually, and this is put like tampons in a wound and like get it to coagulate by sucking up the majority of the, and sucking in that area and keeping it contained. And
Amanda's actually done something like that as well, a bit of a course on emergency triage and all this sort of stuff as well.
Now, lichen moss can work in a similar way to what I just described and also be antibacterial at the same time. So they've recommended you considering even stuffing the wound with it and covering it until you can get more appropriate, closure or care with that.
Let's be careful about killing things, though. I mean, like fungus and this sort of stuff as well. There's a reason why it's there. There's a reason why parasites are there. There's a reason why bacteria are there. They need to be there. They're there at the right time.
And that's what, remember I was talking about, like my face. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm going through a detox right now. I don't need to be freaked out that I'm having some acne because that's because I quit or because I removed the alcohol. So now my body's trying to get all this crap out. Yeah. It's been
and you know that that's
my liver from detoxing. Yeah.
You can allow that to happen. You know, you don't have to be fearful in that process of a natural occurrence that's happening. When you know it's natural and this should happen and it's good for me, great. You know, you get way more out of the healing when that happens as well. You heal faster.
That's what I changed with my perception, like 4 or 5 years ago, with head colds, and and feeling like you got the flu and stuff. Instead of being in the mindset of, oh, I'm sick and my body has to fight this, I thought, my body's purging. My body's purging. And the symptoms lasted less and less. And then eventually it went to the point where I wasn't sick for like 4.5 years. And then I don't know how many weeks ago it was, I did actually get quite overloaded, and I was pretty bad for about 8 or 9 days. But the whole time while I was feeling like it, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm sick, oh, I've caught COVID. I was thinking,
caught something,
wow,
right? Yeah.
I must.
Not my fault.
Thinking, wow, I've been absolutely saturated in.
I got something I'd really like to share. Can we take a quick 4-minute break? Because Amanda does an awesome talk, and on exactly this. You get a cold. I got a cold. Like the wording, I love it. I love it. I love it.
And then, so Richie, then you're not deluding yourself as well, right? So you're going, I am purging. I'm purging something. What am I purging? Yeah. Well, maybe I just won't put that shit in me, and I won't have to purge. I won't have to go through this.
With this, it was.
Whereas someone who catches something, it's like, oh, it's not up to me. It's, I have to wear a mask.
It's up to those kids who gave it to me, right? Oh, those dang kids spreading the disease.
I mean, there's certain things that we have to purge from that I think they're unavoidable, like 5G or even 4G and 3G.
Water.
If you travel on a plane, 9 people out of 10, I'm certain, if not absolutely 10 out of 10 people feel groggy and shitty when they get off the plane. Like, oh God, like maybe they've caught something because the recycled air. No, you just feel shitty because they lowered the oxygen levels to make you tired and more likely to sleep, and because of there's such a high, strong EMF.
Yeah, you feel different. And then what do people associate that to? They associate that to, I'm coming down with something. I'm da-da-da.
I'm coming down with that negative self-talk. And then it's psychosomatic. You fuel it with your own perception. Yeah.
Like right now I'm having a coughing fit, but it's in my lungs. Like, get this, because I just took that. It's like, get that crap out, which is exactly what I want.
That was what I was going to say to you as well, Sarah, is that this, you're going to be purging, and it's going to come out of your lungs as well. It's not just you're going to be purging through your sinuses. You're going to purge it. There'll be phlegm, mucus, all of that. That's what.
Yummy, guys. Yummy.
Really. phlegm and mucus is a massive part of cells purging,
Clearing, yeah.
you know, just cleaning up.
I mean, goes to a gel, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
you get a fever, right? And that changes the temperature within inside you. So now, you know, things can warm up and become gel-like and flush. And
don't
all...
be so quick. Don't be so quick to bring a temperature down.
No.
Keep an eye on it.
No.
Don't let it get too high, but there's a reason why your body's doing it. It's because it's killing the stuff that's in your body that shouldn't be there, and it cannot stand temperatures of 104.
A lot of the early treatments were to induce fevers, and for cancer, that's one of the most curative things for cancer is actually, and there's a lot of study on that where they induced fevers, and it worked really well. Because what is it? It's carcinogens that need to clear. You know, you need to allow those.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, what do they do with the whole concept of a lymph massage? It's to push the toxins, to detox it out.
Yep. Same as like the vibe machine that I do is doing that throughout the entire body. You know.
Shaking everything.
And a very effective method, like vibration.
Is that one of those rubber bands that goes around your bum?
No, it's just a platform that goes up and down.
Who had that video?
Same
Callum,
sort of thing,
who had that video recently? Was it Cam? And it was of all the old exercise. Oh no, I'll find that. I follow this clip. Actually, it was. Oh, maybe he did. I didn't remember seeing that one, but maybe it was him. There was another one too, and it was on this limp. Let me see if I can find it.
I see your messages, Arwen. I want to talk about one message you wrote, Arwen, where you said terrain theory is much more viable approach. The only issue I have with that is it's not a theory. It's just what we observe, is it? Terrain, you change the environment, of course, things will change. It's just what we observe. I think that putting that theory in has been a bit of a, addition that because you're always like comparing it to the germ theory.
It's talking about virus.
And the germ theory is a theory, but it's a busted theory. And the terrain is just what is. You know, if I walk into a room full of smoke, i.e. change my terrain, change the environment, well, that's going to have an impact on me.
Does the terrain? I thought terrain only referred to the land, not necessarily.
The environment.
I suppose it is the air as well, isn't it? It's going to be the. Yeah.
What's your environment? Yeah.
It's your environment, the whole environment.
The medium that is so if you go into water, then that's a huge change of your environment. So now it's mostly water.
Agreed with the young children, PJC Net. Agreed with the children. You have to watch it, but I think there's a lot of fear, unnecessary fear, and
that's brought about by this is wrong too. Oh, I'm sick, I'm wrong. Shouldn't be happening. Stop it. And it's not comfortable. Process.
Obviously, it would be horrible for a parent to see their child writhing around in horrible agony because of the headache caused by the horrible fever.
Yeah, sometimes we have to slow down healing. We have to slow down healing only because it's gotten to a point it's that worse. So you've done all these things to block your healing process, whereas it would be gentle and slow and just what you need. But if we get to those periods where we've just blocked it, and now it's like a bottle that needs to burst, and then it becomes very dangerous, or you have to be cautious about detoxing or whatnot. That's when I'd say that, yes, you need to be careful. But, early on, and especially if it's a healthy child and they've gone through it before as well, you know, because you look at how it's been like before as well and compare it. Like that's the information we have as well, comparing in our own lives.
Arwen, scientifically proven is therefore a fact. It's not a theory.
Yeah.
So, and if any theory is a question, it's not
still
certain.
Theorizing.
You're theorizing. So that's why we get so bent out of shape about the theory of gravity and the theory of evolution, because they're not backed up by factual evidence. And the difference between this has come up again for me, the difference between factual and true. Factual and true are not the same thing. Not certainly not in a court of law. What's up we got here? Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, I was actually I was trying to share something else. Hold on. Oh, I see what I did. Hold on a second. I want to share this first because this is connected to what we were just talking about with the lymph, and like just to keep in mind what the old machines were.
Especially in the courts and stuff, and legal and stuff. That's facts. You're dealing with facts there that aren't necessarily anything. That's just what their person is called a fact. Usually a fiction in action, fact.
The thing is, if you're saying it's right, Arwen, if you're saying it's a theory, I'm saying that all theories are entitled to exist. And it doesn't. No one theory is more correct than another. And it's
when does something stop being a theory? When you've proven it to be.
When it's factually proven to be true.
Yeah.
Which is like, so as far as I'm concerned, it's factually proven to be true to me that the Earth is observably flat. But I really emphasize the qualifier observably to the mind, you know, to anyone that says that they can see the curve is they're kind of deluding themselves to think that they are, because when you put a straight level against anything, you can prove that it's not. You can prove it's absolutely flat.
And again, I'm always going to go back to the.
Then the curve disappears.
I'm always going to go back to the holographic Earth concept, which the simulation theory, again, it allows for a flat Earth concept to exist, and science pushes
allows for anything. A simulation allows for bloody anything.
Theory allows anything.
But,
that plane with the grid system to have dimensions makes sense, and a lot of scientists agree to that.
Yeah.
Oh, so like game. Like a game, but it has to be in a virtual. All of those virtual worlds are created from a flat base to start with, so it's actually extremely difficult to start from a sphere or anything like that. It's just
exactly.
hard.
I think
you don't
because the laws that would need to be involved to be able to make that possible, I think, are beyond anything that would be possible within this realm. Because this realm it is what it is, it means that certain laws mean that certain things can't exist, and that's like water sticking to balls, and you know that the only place water sticks to balls is when I'm laid in the bath.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Richie,
yeah,
share
come
this
on,
video.
laugh. That was funny, man. That was funny. Well, right.
It has to be hairy balls at well.
Share this video real quick, Richie. We don't need to listen to the sound. I just want to show this video.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting that we're in. Right, yeah, go on.
And we can listen to the Amanda one for a break later, because that one's got a really good message, but this one we don't have to listen to the sound. So they're telling you that these things were used to slenderize and put them into a shape. I want you to look at how this is designed. That doesn't make any sense. What is this actually doing? It's shaking and lightly brushing. Have you ever heard dry brushing? Your lymph system to move the toxins out of your body. Shake it up. Why do we stop dancing and singing? Like, these are things that I think are really relevant to our health. And them having to just do that shows you this. Look at that. She's doing a light brushing.
I'll tell you what, yeah, I can see women having a little bit too much fun on those things.
That's a false
things.
I'm just saying, though, that's a false narrative to say that we were using those things. Even the waist trainers, I'm realizing now, are actually a detox system. Maybe they don't need to be so that the woman's shape is so perfectly hourglass, but it's a pull. Like, they use it all the time to. What do people who have lymphedema do? They wrap themselves over and over and over again in all these bandages to get themselves to sweat out the toxins to reduce their size and go back to normal.
Really?
It's a lot of fat or whatever is storing of toxins. So if you can't process them, what do? You store them. If you're full up, if you're already processing too much than you can handle, if you're not relaxed, if you're not in a state of processing this sort of stuff, you'll store it. So that's, like, stop eating. That does help because you're putting less toxins in. But
see, I'd never heard of lymphedema. That's why I didn't know. I've seen people wrapping up in bandages.
Look into inclined bed therapy, PJC net, to get some movement of blood circulation through the night and stuff as well.
Arwen.
It's a slow process to heal.
Been hanging around with Nathan Oakley and Quantum Eraser a lot.
I thought Arwen sounded familiar. I've watched a bit of Nathan Oakley, and I was wondering if that's the same Arwen.
I love Nathan, but I can't.
Can't do too much.
I can't. I can't.
But see, that's why again, it's important though, like, to get somebody. Sorry.
He's always shouting at everybody and just basically saying, "No, you're a fucking idiot. Shut up."
I can't do that.
It's kind of, I
agree
respect
with Santos, him, but I can't listen to that too much.
Everything he says, he's correct, man. He is correct. You can't really argue with him. He's right. But
this is why, though, it's so important, though, that we have somebody come in and, please, like, it's to us, I don't really see it as grilling. It's like, bring on the conversation. Let's talk it out. That's what I think we need to do more as a community. Yeah. And that's how we understand and accept how different and how important we all are.
That's why those shows are fantastic, to get it all out there too, even if people are debating these things in their mind. So if they're debating them on screen in front of you, you can think that way and help yourself as well. Debate, think properly in your mind, think both things through.
Yeah.
Give you the angles.
The angel and the demon, right?
Yeah, and you can trigger yourself. You can trigger yourself and go, why did I trigger there? What is it about that,
This is the very beautiful Amanda Vollmer. You're muted. You're muted, Sarah. No, that's the camera, though.
Oh, yeah. Are you enjoying that? Okay, anyway, what I was trying to say is that we're hoping to have Amanda back on. And Rich and I have talked about, he's reached out. Hopefully Jason might end up getting interested. We've reached out to see if we can have him on. But we're going to have some others. I'm going to reach out to Mike Winter and Dr. Berlando, see if we can have them on, which would just be amazing. Regardless, I'm going to connect with them anyway. And then, Paul Cook, please. I think we've said something. We're going to do a Bernie and Cam special.
We're going to do Bernie and Cam, yeah.
Please tune in every time because we're going to try to have Callum in every time. As you can see, he's a wealth of information. We have a Goonie, Kevin, who also is a wealth of information and has been through some really unique experiences. So yeah, please tune in for some good stories and fascinating topics.
Eventually, at some point, hopefully, we'll have Leafy as well come on with his medical experience as a
Yeah.
as a technician.
And something that I think Leafy is realizing is that he has the capability to really help his patients in those situations. And it's amazing when he talks about it, how calm he is. So it makes me, I immediately was like, I can tell that you are just a wonderful healing energy whenever these circumstances happen, these emergencies, and that you've brought many people back to his energy alone. So it'd be really great to have that in-depth conversation with him. I agree. He has been on. I don't know if you have any videos of your channel, but you have had him on before. Before I actually
he's been on the Real Relevant Radio. He's been on the ones on Odyssey and Rumble. He's been on. But yeah. So excuse me. Press play.
All right, everybody. And I'll be right back. I'm gonna quick break. Oh, hold on. No sound.
See right there, even with the language, you get a folder. The word "get" is a problem. That is coming from the germ theory framework.
It's very low for me.
That you are a victim.
Hey, Rich, can you do me a favor and share it? I'll send you the link. Yeah. I never have luck anyway, and since you've got more immediate access, I think it'll work better. You know, it's like I try to do it the right way, and regardless, so I should just always know that in the future. I think I can download this, actually, which I want to do anyway. Okay.
Are you putting it in the
and I'll have you play that, and I'll be right back.
You're right, Arwen. Scientific theory, but the scientific theory is as its own thing there. Theory in itself as one word is still just the word, but scientific theory does mean specific conditions, yes. And not many people know. Yeah. No sound?
See, right there, even with the language, you get a cold or a flu. The word "get" is a problem. That is coming from the germ theory brainwashing, that you are a victim who walks around in your world getting things. I was just walking down the street and then I got a cold. I just went to a party and now I have a cold. I got it from someone. This is the sea change that's needed for our thinking. You didn't get anything. You made your sickness. The toxins in your body from your lifestyle made you sick, made you have symptoms. Symptoms are healing you. Symptoms are expressions. They are releases of toxins that have been stored inside your body. And there are triggers for those things. All kinds of things can say to the body enough. You go to a party, eat a bunch of junk, drink a bunch of alcohol, stay up late. Next day, you have a stuffy nose or a sore throat. You go, oh, I must have got something when I went to that party. Well, that's called victimhood. And that is just not how the body works. And the sooner we get out of the germ theory brainwashing and understand that those particles actually have never been isolated or shown to cause any disease in any way, shape, or form, They don't actually exist as described, in fact.
And that
in
is
the
a fact.
section of every virology paper that exists that we've examined. So the problem is this: we don't want to take self-responsibility for our actions and behaviors. It's way easier to pass the buck onto somebody else or somewhere else or an invisible floating particle for why we have expressive symptoms. And the way we speak, the way we assume is part of this issue. So we need to change the word I got it, or I'm getting it, or
It's a
I
big part.
heard from someone else, or it's this, I'm blaming this particle for why I'm sick. No, you made yourself sick with your lifestyle by poisoning yourself, by suppressing symptoms with drugs and shots, and not allowing the mechanisms to actually work as designed, which is to create the symptoms to push out the wastes. And that means mucus formation. All the symptoms that you associate with a cold or a flu is actually a healing process of your body to rebalance it and to remove all the garbage that you've been putting inside your body, whether it's
Purging.
from negative thinking, emotional trauma, the poor diet. All of those things matter, and they accumulate inside of you. So you didn't get anything. You don't get a cold or flu. Colds and flus are detox. That's it. So this nonsense has to end, really. It has to stop, because it's just pushing forward these ideas that somehow magically we collect a particle, like some sort of, bacteria, some sort of living particle is like hurting us randomly. It doesn't happen. That's not reality. What real is our behaviors and actions create consequences. And our body needs to balance, and our body needs to express and remove the waste. And that's what we're seeing. And that's all colds and flus are. They have nothing to do with an invisible particle, irrelevant, absolutely hogwash, unscientific, and fraud. And anybody pushing the idea that we get these things is a hack. I'm sorry. You've had more than enough time to do the research, to do the deep dive, to understand these particles don't exist. And here you are still pushing it. So what's our conclusion? There's only two conclusions. If you're still pushing germ theory, you're either an unresearched idiot or you're a plant with an agenda. It's pretty much the only two places you can go with that. So I hope people can figure this out sooner. See, right?
Spot on.
So
I know, it's like,
I
just tell him, it was like, just totally reiterated that. I love it.
Spot on.
Because from my own personal experience, of the last 5 years, sick once in 5 years. And that's
plus for more than
basically
10 years I've been hugging everyone that's got a cold or a flu or anything like that as well, and kissing and sharing and doing all the things we're not supposed to do, and nothing touches me. I didn't get anything.
Like,
I don't
I got sick, it was like coincided with my friend's kid, but then after that I didn't, and I was immersed in the hospital. I got sick the first year I worked for the hospital, and they always tell you you'll get. That was actually, so that was 2016, and it was really quick. It was a very quick little, cold sort of. Usually they are with me. They're like 24 hours, but regardless, I realized it was connected to the food I was eating at the time too, because as soon as I started changing that, but after that, I immersed myself. When my patients were sick and they would step away from me, oh, I'm really ill. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. We're good.
You need a hug. You need love.
Yes. And I always, yes. Especially like when my exes would be like, no, don't kiss me. I'm sick. No. And then I was like, I'm not going to get sick from this.
Feeling we have too, that someone's sick. Oh, stay away from them. That's been banged into us. That's not innate. That's not an intuition. Our intuition is actually to go and help. Oh, are you okay?
Used to piss my ex-girlfriends off, and I still wanted it when they're like, oh, no, I'm all snotty, I don't care. Fucking come on, let's go. But I'd be like, so what? So okay, so I'll be snotty for a few days, man. Like, whatever.
Oh, and I think the other thing there is like, how we describe it. It's like people don't want to know as well. So they'll hear it, and in ignorance, it's the ignorance. They push it aside because they don't want to hear it. Then they have to deal with it. But if they just caught it from someone else and it's your fault, great. That's where blame, is playing that blame game. So I can just
well, this is going back to responsibility, isn't it? And this is one of the kind of the tenets of the path. If you're going to go on the path, you've got to start taking responsibility for everything. Even those things that at one point in your life you didn't think you had any responsibility for. Like, that's not my fault, man. No, that happened to me. That wasn't my fault. Well, this is where you go back in time and change your perception of what's gone on and say, right,
change your history.
Change the
yeah. That's how you change. Well, you change your story.
Yeah,
change your story.
But you're literally changing the perception, your reality.
Yeah. Yeah, because perception is the key to your reality.
Yeah. And then your future changes in that moment.
Yeah.
And when do you do that? When do you do that?
You did it all in the now.
When can you affect that change? So the only time that you can ever affect that change, now. Right now. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's where we have all the power. All the power is now. So people that think past and think future, like you said, I think you did a short on that, Richie.
That's what I was just about to say.
Thinking past and thinking the future. Stress.
That was actually
when you're in the present, you're at peace.
So that was
it's
loud too. That was loud.
Enjoy your present. It's a present.
Like, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. You're living now. Because now, right now, nothing's going on.
Experiencing.
There isn't anybody. You're just observing it. If you're at peace, you're observing what's happening. And unless you're in the middle of a war zone, literally, actually, in the middle of a war zone, the majority of us, it's actually
you get out
in this moment right now.
Well, you do whatever you need to do in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would
right
get
in
out.
That moment, if someone's in the middle of a war zone, they could be having the best time of their lives.
Okay, that's true.
I'm jealous as well, mate.
I envision that with some power.
By the way, we are in the middle of a war zone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, and you guys are okay. You're smiling. You're enjoying life.
We are.
What's going on?
I'm excited.
We're not. No, hang on. We're not just in the middle of a war zone. I mean, technically, we're right at the front of a war zone because we're going against the narrative and we're openly speaking out against the narrative. Obviously, carefully where we need to be careful, but we're basically saying, listen, everything that they're telling you is a lie. Everything that they're projecting on through their news broadcasts and on their newspapers and everything. Go and watch. Oh God, what's it called? With Rowdy Roddy Piper. They Live. Go and watch They Live. Realize it's a documentary about what's going on now. Minus the aliens. Minus the aliens, like minus the silly Martians or whatever they are. It's just like a metaphor for what's going on now, basically. Yeah. Find some glasses, man. Put your glasses on. But they're metaphorical glasses. They're not real ones. Don't. Because I heard somebody saying something about sunglasses the other day. And that made me, it was really sunny outside and I had my sunglasses and I was like, I'm going to take them off. And I just put my sunglasses on the top of my head and I was visualizing, sucking in so much more energy through my eyes from the sun, and looking as close to the sun as I could and looking at the sun when it was behind the trees. Because I could sort of look directly at it then, because you've only got these little sections where you're looking at the actual sun, but you're looking directly at it. It's just obscured by trees. So I figure that must work as well. So
we're so much better without. We're so much better without the sun. As soon as we put them on, then the sun becomes a problem.
my eyes go a much better blue when they've been in the sun. They go really, really like bright blue when they've been in the sun.
Iridology, I mean, that's just your entire life having more light. Your entire being, your entire expression having more expression. Yeah. More energy, and that's exactly what's happening as well. You know, like I was saying, I did this festival where I was walking in the sun, working, doing things all day, every day for a week. Nice glow, still white as a ghost. What's the difference? I was earthed and I didn't wear sunnies. I didn't put sunblock on, or like people are afraid of the sun. There's a fear there. There's a fear within them. That's a problem. Not what's actual here. It's the fear.
I don't wear. I know I have worn sunblock because my mum made me. But then once it was down to me, I don't wear sunblock. And even when I was in Portugal, I wasn't wearing sunblock. I was wearing sun magnifier. At one point, I actually put baby oil on my skin to moisturize it to make my skin turn even browner because I don't burn. I've got. I'm lucky. I've got the Algerian in me.
Well,
that
I did.
The sun.
I would like to say I did have an incident. I was out in the sun all the time as a kid. It was sort of like a known thing. Every summer, I would at least like the first day that I was really getting in, I would burn, and I would, I soaked in aloe vera, and I would sit there for like a good day. I couldn't go outside because I'd burn myself that good. Okay. No problems. And this is why I push no sunscreen now, because I never wore sunscreen as a kid. And it's funny, my mom would try, but I would like squirm and get out of it, or I would go jump in the water right away and get it off before they really had the waterproof stuff. And even still, I would forget. And I would say, no, Mom, I don't want it. I don't want it. For some reason, I would just be like, no. It's not to say I never did. Regardless, I did have an incident. I was and at this point, again,
we say that we use these, these spells like I get burnt. I don't go out in the sun because I get burnt. How do you know? You get burnt when you don't do things correctly. But what I'm talking about is earthing, taking the sunnies off, no sunblock. These are things people
yeah.
So there's something to retest yourself and go, wait, do I burn? Do I actually burn? Let me try this and see.
Let's talk about the detox aspect of it, because this is what I was going to get at. I had a 3rd-degree burn on my face from I was in Florida, and I was in the water all day, like nonstop all day. So the reflection of the water, and it was cloudy, which was kind of funny too. But I got 3rd-degree burn right here and right around my nose, and it blistered. I blistered. Okay, but let's also talk about that. Let's talk about heat stroke, sunstroke. What is really happening? You're probably getting so much. You're probably getting what you need. It's forcing shit out of your body, and it's like another form of a detox.
I would say that sunstroke, having experienced that a couple of times,
because I have.
I would say that sunstroke is actually your brain reaching temperatures that it shouldn't be reaching.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Water content and water within your body is a huge thing here as well.
Heat stroke, sunstroke can kill you.
Well, yeah, that's okay. So there's again, we're getting into there's an extreme of everything. That's if you're not seeking shade, you think that just because you're in the water, you're immune. So that's too much, because that's true. There's too much of a good thing.
The other thing, like if I go out into the wild and I survive, if my mindset is surviving or if my mindset is thriving, that's 2 different mindsets, 2 different experiences as well. You go in with the survival, you could die. That's part of that, because that's what you have.
That could be what has been perpetually wrong with my shit, is that I feel like, I'm surviving through this. I'm surviving through this, not in a physical way, in a financial way. And I'm good right now. I'm just keeping my head above water.
People sort of sit down and say, I'm surviving right now. It's like, I'm just surviving. It's like, no, you're doing really well. You look great. Like in the now, you are perfect. You know,
Well, and
unless you
three,
have a physical pain or something that is right there that deserves your
that's the thing.
attention
In the now, I feel good. Like I feel pretty
really
good in the now.
Yeah,
Like,
you always do.
I mean,
It's only when you're
Well,
thinking of the
no,
past, thinking of the
I
future.
don't always, but I kind of know what it is that's making me feel bad. When I do feel bad, I know exactly what it is that's making me feel
that's
bad.
what I was going to get at.
And there's no, it's like, oh, right, okay, I've got to endure this for a little bit because of whatever reason. Like when the back of my head feels like it's being cooked, it starts to feel like it's actually being baked, and I can't touch the back of my head. It's so sensitive, and I can feel the heat radiating off of it, and the headache that is there in the back of my head, where it is, it's like the temperature has risen massively just in the back of my head, and I'm like, okay, my main overriding perception is, whatever it is, it's just going to be uncomfortable. I've just got to endure it until it's gone, and then it's like, oh, okay, oh, it's gone now.
I think
Okay.
you can also envision it
Don't
healing.
worry about it, but I don't worry about it. I don't bother worrying
Yep.
about it. I don't.
Yep.
It's just like,
It's not an end
whatever
all.
it is, it's
Never.
not going to fucking kill me. It's just, all right, maybe it's a direct energy weapon. They're trying to cook the back of my brain from my router, 5G router out there, and maybe that's what it is. Well, if that's what it is, more fucking power to me, because they can't do anything. They're not doing anything. If that's what they're doing, it's not doing much. It's just giving me a headache.
That's what I say.
Sorry,
You
sorry,
don't
boys. You're just
Yep.
making my head feel a bit shit. And look, you can't maintain it. You can't ever maintain it. You know,
See
it's
how
at the
important
most
temperature
like
is.
5 or 6 hours, and then it's like, oh, and then
We were just talking about fevers and stuff before. See how you know, temperature in the bottle and just tiny little adjustments and stuff. You know, like cold showers and that sort of, like ice bars and all this sort of stuff as well. You know, the temperature changes are huge for us, for our bodies. It's just staying, like, because we artificially, like right now I've got a heater on and stuff as well, but we artificially change this temperature all the time. So, you know, people are going from an air conditioned house out into an air conditioned, like, I live in the desert here, so it's hot.
body, a fit and healthy person maintains pretty much exactly the same temperature.
Yeah,
Their
and you can
core
change it.
maintains, no matter what the
Yeah, you can
temperature is
control.
outside.
You have control over these things as well. It's not like I'm cold. We'll do something about it. Like I say, you know, you can go for a run in your mind, even without sitting still, not doing anything. You can change your temperature. You know, you can imagine the sun coming from the solar plexus, and heat ourselves up.
Yeah, you can put little.
We have so much control
into it as well to help. Like, you close your eyes and jog on the spot, and you imagine that you are jogging out in the desert.
What I actually do is do a workout.
Yeah.
So you know, I actually getting a workout while I'm heating myself up as well, right?
Yeah. Actually, whenever I'm cold, that's exactly what I do. I like just run in place. Like if I'm out with my friends, and if I just do that for like 5 minutes less, I'm immediately warmed up. And I don't even have to really run. I'm just like kind of doing this. It's that whole idea that you're shaking.
Yeah. Your body's even though you still feel all these things going.
And this all has to do with like cell communication, you know, and this is why health is so much more complex than taking herbs to heal yourself or taking any kind of medicine. And this is why healing circles work, you know. I was gonna read something and I lost my page because
well, the more energy the better, isn't it? Like when we think about that ourselves, you're putting energy to a certain area. It's the same as like when you know, ignoring the pain or looking into the pain. We're actually putting that energy where it needs to be. You know, so what does a healer do? Are they're putting their energy on the problem.
Well,
You know,
here's the other thing. They're also
so
they're putting it on the
more and
problem.
more.
Cam, don't you think though too? We talked about they're also there to do what they can to bring balance.
Chick dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nerve pain, Brian. Have you tried a TENS? Have you ever tried a TENS machine? Because TENS
I would
machines are good.
probably, Brian, I would probably recommend dancing. I'm not even kidding you. And I don't mean like joining a dance club, and I mean anything that kind of just gets you to shake. And if you can't do excessive because of the pain, just do even a little bit. Just do, also stretching. And then maybe consider, if you can find this, because this is supposed to be amazing for the nervous system, is this lion's mane oil. It may be very helpful. This is, again, sort of like a microdosing concept. It's nothing to, this actually isn't psychedelic, but it has the same properties as the psilocybin that they're using for microdosing. It could be helpful with nerve, because it's very central nervous. And then anything to give you morale, right? Like, that's what we talk about when you're using these aids. It's really to boost your mentality, to then make it so your body can heal itself. That's what this is for. That's what we have to remember. So if we were absolutely without anything, we might have to endure some of that pain for a little longer. But if we're able to actually just focus and really meditate on it, we could actually eliminate the problem, similar to these other aids we're using. We live in a world right now where there's constant distractions, and that's why these aids are so beneficial, because they help you then get to a place where you can truly meditate and bring your own.
And people are in the physical. People are in the physical. They're too much into the physical and not into the meta. And
they don't.
There's
Well,
the balance that
also,
we need as well. So
right,
that's a physical thing that will help them.
But what you have to fully appreciate is that because we're physical beings, we're physical avatars, there is a direct connection between the two. Us.
There always is.
We are the direct connection between the two. Always. They exist separate from each other outside of us. Outside of us, they exist completely separate from each other, in the same place, but completely separate from each other. The material world and the spiritual world, two completely different planes. But within us, in each and every one of us, they both exist at the same time. So we're capable of operating in both at the same time. Maybe not our consciousness. Maybe our consciousness doesn't operate in both at the same time, but we do. Well, yeah, maybe. But like, what I mean is, our physical senses can't operate in that. We can't be walking around. I mean, actually, you can with your imagination. You can. Can't. Don't use this word can't. Can't's a really crappy word. Don't use it. Scrap it. Chuck it out of the dictionary.
Call me out anytime.
Out of my dictionary. You can walk around using your imagination in both worlds at exactly the same time. How lucky are we, man? Like, how fortunate are we to be able to do that? That's
all it is focus.
Yeah.
Focus of energy. This is an intense focus of energy we're experiencing now. It feels real.
Yeah, I feel you, Callum. It's kind of amazing. It's actually like in the telepathy I was telling Richie the other day. It's like I already read emotions, right? But now it's like, it's instant almost. I get a saying or a phrase with the feeling really quick. I realize that what I was thinking somebody heard, and that's been like, whoa, okay. And it's like,
it's close. It's not always precisely word for word though. Or,
it's more of a feeling, right? That's
and it's coming through your brain as well. So as long as you know who you are, you can place those differences. So knowing more about the other person, it becomes more word perfect, for want of a better word.
Yeah. Like and filling in each other's sentences, kind of a thing, or words. Yeah.
So people you know really well, it'll be stronger and more precise, right?
Sorry.
Clearing. The gurgling.
The whole thing is that makes me laugh is I think it went wrong on purpose. Like part of it went down the wrong pipe on purpose because actually I haven't had this much clearing out of my lungs before when I've done it. It's been more that I just feel it drain. But now I'm like coughing all this crap out of my lungs, which I want. Get it out. You can even hear the movement because you can hear my.
It was those different levels too. Once you cleared a certain area, now you can clear more. Now you can clear more. You'll have different symptoms.
So clean, but my dentist, no, there's no plaque. Switch your brush from this to one with a rounded brush head.
Oral-B's round head.
Just talking about the dentist as well. So obviously, someone's listening.
Penny for your thoughts. I hate Brenda, and a bad guy hit me in the shin, and I peed all in my pants. There's nothing a little music can't help. Rockin', and rollin'. Down to the beach I'm strolling. But the seagulls poking my head, not fun. I said, seagulls, stop it now. Everyone told me not to stroll on that beach. Said seagulls gonna come, poke me in the coconut, and they did, had me going like, nothing I could do but yell when these birds attacked me. When I tried to run, I fell, and then these kids started laughing. And then got hit in the neck with a hacky sack. Where'd it come from? Now run. I can be a backpack while you run, jump and stop. Put me down. I love to groove and boogie. Yeah. Great. Show you some dance moves. No, I don't want you to. If I had your giant feet out there on the beach, could have outrun those birds. You're a psycho wiener. Let me grab my beater.
Stop it, please. Don't hit me. Please. Don't hit me.
Come on, man. Quit that banging. Hey, what's that stank? You put a fish in our basket. Oh, yeah. I forgot I did that. You owe me an apology. Just hold your breath and see when the time is right. Birds will back your face. Now run, jump. I can be your backpack while you run. Swing from a hairy vine. I can be your backpack while you climb. Stand on one hand and lift rocks with your special gift. Run, jump. Now breathe. That's good. Like that. One day I was walking and I found this big log. Then I rolled the log over. Underneath was a tiny little stick. And I was like, that log had a child. Listen, boy, someday when you are older, you could get hit by a boulder. While you're lying there screaming, come help me, please. The seagulls poke your knees. Stop it now.
The way they did Luke's face through that was hilarious because he's just like disturbed the majority of the time, just like
rock that song I did, Yes. You're mute, Ricky.
Oh my god. We can't hear Rich. You're on mute.
Oh shit!
Can't hear you, man.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, that was
Epic.
that was lip sync, man. Lip sync. They do another one which is brilliant. But I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, it's just because who was it mentioned Yoda, and it just made me think of Yoda, and I was like, oh yeah, there's that funny song that Yoda done.
Realize.
That's going to be going through the head all night.
Realize. Real lies. Yeah.
Real life.
Where are you in the Cascades? Because I am also in the Cascades. That's gonna be stuck in my head.
Actually, I don't want to have to be the one to point this out if you're pronouncing that wrong. It's actually the Cascades.
Cascades.
Did you not? Sorry, did you not know that?
Cascade.
You live in the Cascades.
I didn't know. I was not educated.
Cascade.
To that extent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you know.
Cascade.
Yeah, guys, we've been going for 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's 5:15 here in sunny Tenerife,
Wrap it up.
coast of Africa. I'm ready to wrap it up. I don't know about you two guys, if you want to carry on or not. We are on Rox's channel.
We got tomorrow.
I don't think. Well, tomorrow is it Sunday tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Today,
Sunday
actually.
Sunday show. Hey, why don't you post links again for everybody? Come over for the Sunday show
today?
tomorrow.
Friday today.
It's going to be the same
thought
kind
it
of awesome types of discussion and probably more
I thought it
people.
was Friday today.
I
I thought
So you
was
just
Saturday.
gained another day. Perfect. No, you lost a day.
No, you lost a day.
Actually, do you know what? No, it's funny you should say that though. I see it as gaining a day because I'm really I'd like to fast forward. I wish I had control and I could just go.
Actually, I do feel
It's fine.
similar.
Maybe you did.
Right? Like, ooh,
No,
excuse
just
me,
wanna
I just
get to
burped
a
up
point where
pepper.
there's a point I know I'm going to get to, but I just want and just fast forward to it quickly, you know, and then
I
so I
feel
can
the
get
same.
on. I can
Patience.
actually do.
It's because we've been so patient, but I still have more learning to
Patience.
do. We take this time to get that healing, that last bit of healing, the triggers that we need to work on, right? And that's what's going to help us manifest what we really want.
It's a
And I just wanna
transformation.
say
You've got to remember
as
that
well-
it's, a lot of these things aren't instant. Take the time, enjoy the transformation.
And
You
like
know,
through
and
this,
Dude,
I
that's
thought
the
maybe
learning.
my relationship with my parents wasn't going to necessarily get, but I'm thinking no. I think that's again why I'm here is that we're going to help each other through this, and I already have really helped them see the bigger picture. You know, the fact that my dad laughed at my joke this morning about the terms Republican and Democrat are now racist. Like to me, that was huge because he's the one that runs around and saying Republitard. But now they agree with me. I say follow the money, and so now that that's coming out of their mouths. It's wonderful.
You must be able to point out that your dad hasn't moved, your dad hasn't changed, but the political lines have, and now the voice of the Democrats has moved so far left. And they've moved the center point. So now your dad is probably more center right now by today's standards than
Everyone's
he was
confused now.
before.
Yes and no. They do agree that the whole sexuality push is really weird, especially because I showed them that there was a local hospital here who was pushing to have kids come and get sex toys. And they were saying kids in their text. Yeah, I have like this woman that, I've talked about, Jenny from Oregon. She had posted this because she saw it and she calls these places. She's so badass. She calls the stores and is like, I just want to clarify that what I'm reading here is accurate. Can you please explain? And then she challenges them. It's awesome. Like, anyway, because that's like boots on the ground, hands on, challenge. getting people to wake up, not maybe completely, but when you leave little drops. This is what I do on a daily basis when I talk to people. We'll talk about something, I'm like, yeah, but this or that, just to, anyway, yeah.
When people identify with these labels, and then suddenly the definition of these labels change. Oh, and now you do this, and now you're into this, and now you agree with this. Oh, wait a second. This label's maybe not for me. If they can see it, most people just go along with it. So it's like, oh, I have to do this now, or I have to see this in this light now. And so they change their being to suit whatever the label suggests. And it's like, that's the trick of it too. Like, once you've identified with that label, now we change it. Now what? Now you're stuck.
I mean, what better example in real time is there than what they've been doing with the pride flag? How it keeps changing it. They keep changing it. Now it's got a fucking chevron. Well, at one time it was just all it was a rainbow flag. Now it's some
conditioning
sort of chevron thing going on with it.
Yeah, it's a conditioning. Like, go with the flow. So at some point, I just have to go with the program.
Get with the program, dude.
You guys ready for this?
Just get with the program, man.
You ready for this?
Change the flag. Just get with the program.
I want to show you where our friend here lives, because this is a beautiful place.
Who? Callum.
Our realize. I'm trying to make it sound cool when I say it, and that did not sound cool, but I tried, okay? I wasn't making fun of it. I was actually trying to make it really cool. This is Lake Chelan in Washington. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I've been there once, and it was raining. It was still gorgeous, but it was like pouring down rain, so we didn't really get to stop and enjoy it. But I wanted to go see it really bad, so we drove through.
There is full. That's beautiful.
Chelan.
That looks like the sort of place I could live, man.
The Chihuahua Valley, which
that house.
A lot of natives.
Is that real?
It is real, man. It's fucking real. These places really exist in Oregon and Washington. You gotta come. I know, right? No, this shit's real.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That's,
right?
Apparently, that's how we can deal with these things.
And I can see this, and I've seen, I've been to places and I've seen these views, and it just, you're there and you're like, oh my God, am I really seeing this fucking right now? It's amazing.
Truly observing.
That
looks really experiencing.
You could go
yeah.
You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the past there, are you? You're just taking it in.
This is why nature is truly my home.
If you're sat on a boat on that lake fishing, you're not thinking about it. You're laid there thinking how beautiful and peaceful. What an amazing
Let me show you where my... I'll show you where my dad is.
These are the things, people go on vacation and all these things and have this crazy busy sort of time, and they get these tiny little snippets of this, where they can appreciate something, but it's so small. They need so it's more for them.
This is the story, isn't it? So the guy, multi-millionaire, goes on holiday to beautiful place out in Caribbean somewhere, and
this is where me and my dad go fishing.
Sat there on his boat, and he looks out and he sees there's a fisherman with his boat, and he casts out a net, and he catches some fish, and he seems to be having a whale of a time. And he goes over and says, "Wow, this is brilliant! This is brilliant! How you're catching fish? What are you going to do with this?" And so, "I'm going to take this fish home, and I'm going to cook it on a barbecue, and then I'm going to sit and have fun with my family this afternoon." He said, "If you sold that fish, you could make some money, and then you could buy a new boat. But what would I do with the new boat? Well, you could catch more fish, and then
more money.
Then if you catch more fish, you'll get more money, and then you could get another boat, and you could get a fleet of boats." And the fisherman says, "And then what?" Well, then you can start distributing the fish that you're catching. You can build a factory where you can the fish, and then you make even more money. And then what? Well, then you can franchise out those manufacturing processing plants, and you can become a billionaire. And then what? Well, and then you
Never
can
enough.
go out, sit on a boat, and have a little fish, and enjoy the rest of enjoy your time with your family. And that the whole point of it, I've told it quite crap, but the whole point of it is that really, at the end of the day, all what the guy wanted was to just sit there and fish and not worry about anything. And
He was doing.
enjoy life with his family. He sat, in the beautiful countryside, and in the
Quality
water.
instead of quantity.
Yeah,
It's exactly what that message tells you. You don't need to build a million boats for your. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like the fisherman already had what he wanted. He was living his dream. He didn't want for things he didn't need.
Oh, so all future thinking, by the way. As opposed to, it was all future thinking. You could do this and you could do that, and
yeah. And then there was
how about
but
what I'm doing right now? Exactly what I want.
This is the thing with the, I mean, granted, successful entrepreneurs and successful businessmen and successful salesmen. Why are you doing that job? Well, to make the money, man. To make the money, I want the money. Why do you want the money? Well, to be able to live the life, man. To be able to live the life. Yeah, but you don't have the time to live the life, like, because you're never living now. You don't stop to enjoy. You haven't got time to stop and enjoy the benefits of what you're doing. You're constantly chasing after the means to ultimately just
when your time becomes the most important thing as well, and then other people sort of notice that as well, so they're happy to pay for your time then as well. Just a little nip in there as well, right?
Interesting, yeah.
Because my time is very valuable. I may be sitting around doing nothing a lot of the time, what other people would call sitting around doing nothing.
Exactly.
But that is extremely valuable, and I have done a lot of things in my life to make sure I have that time.
I'm very I'm trying to be much more aware of, and I've said it before a couple of times. Like they say, if time is money,
do or do not. There is no try.
But I'm extremely wealthy. My situation might not be so great, but I've got so much time on my hands, and it's my time to do with what the fuck
and
I
love
want.
And support around you as well, right?
Yeah,
it's that's how I feel
wealth
now.
of love, a wealth of time, a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of health.
So it's
wealth.
It's the perception of what wealth is.
It's important though, just like Cal was saying, it's like a self-check. If you are becoming too impatient again, all of a sudden, if you find yourself doing a task and you're becoming impatient doing the task, or like for me, there's a lot of cleanup involved in my life. A lot of cleanup. Like usually the moment I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, I got to deal with that right now. So, yep. And so it's been so much about grounding myself and just saying, I'm so appreciative that she's still here, that she's detoxing, that she's, still shows a lot of life in her. I need to take this as, this is my time now to, okay, I'm going to stop and make sure I love on her through this process, make sure she feels okay about, because she actually does feel shame when she has an accident, and
you know what?
When
Alfie,
she's so much
Alfie
like a person.
When he hasn't been able to, like a couple of times, it's only happened a couple of times, but a couple of times he's mithered me, and I've been otherwise engaged, and I've been like, and I've just kind of ignored him. He's come up and licked my hand, and I've just kind of pushed him away, and then he's gone and done something. And it's because he's got the squits, and he's like, I needed to go. And the way he looks at me is like, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, Alfie, that was my fault, mate. That was completely on me. Don't you worry about it. Don't you? Look,
actually,
next time I'll be more observant.
Yeah,
Next
Okay,
time
so
I'll be more
I'll
observant with you.
listen to you. I
and
won't
here's
ignore
this
you.
is the lesson with my dog. This is a
Yeah.
huge lesson. My dog has forced me from day one because she jitter. She's very, and even now, like she's gotten so much more used to even me massaging her. But as soon as I reach a certain point on her, and then it almost ruins some of the work I've done, right? Because she'll just tense up. So it's been this whole patience, learning how far I can go, what she actually will receive. So her head, I can focus a lot on her head and her neck. She loves that. She gets into it. She doesn't flinch. But what I'm getting at too is like her whole discipline, my whole life was part of my awakening because she could not take any negative discipline at all. She just reverted and just did not develop. I can be stern with her, and you need to be a little more of a stern voice, but not anytime that. So my ex would lose his temper, and she used to be okay in the car. She used to do pretty good in the car and would even fall asleep in the car. She started having accidents in the car as she got older because she started losing her control on certain things more. Okay. He freaked out on her real bad. And he really messed her up. I mean, I've really been working on her to revert it, but he forcefully threw her out of the car because he lost his patience so bad. He told me he did this, and he told me he felt really bad about it. He owned up to it. But it was like,
did you punch him? Did you punch him?
Really apologize to the dog.
I think I asked
don't
him.
Tell me, tell the dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm so patient with her now. And every step, every little thing that, it's okay, JB, you're awesome. And I call her Champ Dog because she still goes up these stairs, and we do this little thing where I help her, and I do this motion to help her. And I go, come on, Champ Dog, come on. And you see her ears perk up and her eyes open up. Yeah, I can do this. It's awesome.
The only time you have to be careful there in rewarding is rewarding fear or anything like that. So if they're in that moment of afraid, that's not the time to go, oh, it's all right, because they'll take it completely wrong. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's like,
you know what? You're totally right.
Out of it.
I actually usually, when she does that, I usually I'm more like straight voice, and I'll kind of reposition to help her. Like if she falls and freaks out, which that happens, I'll reposition her and kind of place her back up and be like, it's all good. And then,
preempt.
I don't overly excessively. Yeah. I sort of ignore it. I sort of like, oh,
hey, Jolie.
No big deal. That didn't happen.
It's like you were saying before, like people go to that telling a dog off. Now, I was just talking about this the other day, actually, where you can see people do it too. Like, no, don't do it, don't. That where it's like, what I say is perhaps instead of the negative reinforcement there, tell them what you want them to do. And instead of telling them what not to do, tell them what you want to do. So in this moment, I want you to sit. So just sit down. Great. Perfect. Well done. Good boy. Good girl. And you can go straight back into that positive rewarding. And that helps a lot of people actually get out of that because they're putting themselves into a state as well when it's working themselves up like that. They did that, not the dog. The dog was just being innocent or just needing something or whatever.
And the dog feeds off of you.
And once they know. They want to help you out. They want to work for you. They want to have this relationship where it's easy. They want all these things that we want as well. So when we change that perception there, it really helps.
Because we're talking about dogs, I want to bring up what I was watching from Jason because it was in his geezer. He was saying in one of his streams about how not enough people are watching his Secrets of Geezer playlist. So I watched it yesterday. I binge watched it yesterday. And one of the things he was talking about was domesticated dogs. Although there is a link to the wolf, and it's specifically the wolf. It's not the coyote. It's not the dingo. Yeah, it's the wolf. But something's happened. It's like they suddenly appeared with one aspect of their nature kind of removed, which was that the hunting, so, you know, this need to hunt and to kill and to
It's not totally
and to
gone though,
accept
because they
us.
really quick they have bred dogs still specifically to hunt. And like my
Oh
dog,
yeah,
she's got
yeah,
this
you can
Are
still
still
bring it
there.
out.
she's very
It's still
prey
there.
driven. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Sorry.
still bring it out. But a dog's natural instinct actually is just to please you.
Yeah.
Really. Right, and that doesn't mean that,
What
like,
is that? That's the
if you
alpha
encourage
pack
it to
thing.
go and be horrible, if you encourage
So
it
The
to
that
be
more
goes back
horrible,
cute
it'll,
they are, the more they're going to get fed and looked after, isn't it? So they
exactly.
become cute. They get the little tails and the little looks, and you know they
They come,
adapt.
my cat comes and cries at me and then does
Yeah.
this little paw thing. She does this. She'll and she'll,
But
and you're like,
it's
well, of
good
course
to
I'm going to
understand the
pick you
difference.
up.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah. They know what they're
or
doing.
you've got,
But
or
it's
I
you've
know.
it's
got
good
my
to
Alfie.
understand the difference as well, to know what's natural. It's the same as us. We are domesticated, right? But there is a
Yeah.
natural way which we want to stay aligned to, you know,
Yeah.
because that's us in health. And same as with a
With
dog. Like,
with
you know,
dog
dog
theatrics,
problems. Like, do you see dogs having problems in the wild, or let's say other animals, wild animals? Hardly anything goes wrong. Like,
right? Do you know what really? You know what I love
that
about
kangaroo's
dogs,
got a
right?
cold, right? Yeah.
Do you know what I love about dogs?
Yeah, but
Right? It's
also there
really
is like a weeding out. Sorry, real quick. There's a weeding out in nature often when they're real young, right? So like the ones
The
that have
weed.
issues, like you've seen footages of like lions leaving the cub because one time this water buffalo broke a cub's back so it could no longer walk, and it was like the worst fucking footage to watch because mom just walked away from the cub and let the cub just sit there and scream and like made the
But there's less.
decision to just let nature take the cub, you know, and
Yeah,
had to walk
or
away. So you see more
you
of that
have to
happen.
overcome this. You have to overcome this. You have to. I can't do it for you. You have to overcome it. You have to develop the strength. You know, there's a lot of things that can't be coddled. You know,
Yeah,
where
I agree and I disagree. I think that's a little
It's
bit
a-
more
it's a
related to the duality world we live in. It's more extreme right now, where in other circumstances it wouldn't be that extreme, and like a tribe would find that cub and then just raise the cub within their own tribe, kind of a thing, you know, versus it being raised by another lion. I do like that's my personal opinion on it, but I don't think the world is. I personally don't believe that. I think we've been put into a world that is that cruel and made to believe that everything is that will always be that cruel, and it's a dog eat dog world, and that almost like why they've made animals to like make us watch this happen so that we manifest that into our own.
Yeah,
we're told we're animals.
They don't show you all the videos of animals helping other animals, species
there's a lot.
helping.
And that exactly that happened. That
those as well.
Exactly, actually. So other than a tribe taking on that cub, it's actually not that uncommon that a whole other species would take that cub.
Cats
Actually,
helping fish.
That's happened.
Cats helping fish. Even bears. Seen a bear help a fish. Like
I have not seen that, but
I'm sure
anything's possible.
Unless I'm getting mixed up with it. What was that? Grizzly Ben, the bear. Big.
Is there actually a thing? Is grizzly bear actually a thing, or is that just
the grizzly?
It's not a name
is
of a
that,
species of bear?
Well, it's specifically this bigger brown bear. No,
it's the big brown grizzly bear.
So there's a difference between like a black bear, a brown bear, and then there's a grizzly. Because a grizzly is bigger.
Right.
It's smaller than a polar bear, but it's bigger than a brown bear or a black bear. Black bears can get really big, though. They can be 800 pounds. Like, you know, that's pretty extreme, but they can get really big. But also the grizzly is a little more like supposedly volatile as far as like, you know, in nature. But anyway, I believe that there's like Callum, you've talked about that there's this whole aura that you can present with yourself, and especially with a bear, because bears are not natural predators, or they're not naturally looking to attack animals for food. You can actually, be like, whoa, back off. Unless they're starving and they are stalking you for food, you can I think deflect them with your energy. You got to do. It's sort of like, have you seen that footage of the guy who had to back away from a cougar?
It depends on the situation, but yeah.
Have you seen that footage of the guy who backed away from the cougar, and the cougar was like, because he accidentally came up on the cougar's cubs, and he didn't see the mom. The mom kind of came out of the back corner on him, so then she was super pissed because she felt like he had cornered his cubs. He had to slowly back up, and the cougar kept doing that like move at him. It was so freaky to watch on the footage, and he had to come back and be like back at it to get, and slowly walk away at the same time.
I've seen that with the bear as well. I've seen that with the bear as well.
It was
A guy that
amazing.
was sat there taking wildlife photography, and a bear came, but just started coming too close to him, and so he sort of stood up, and then he stood his ground and kind of growled at it and said, "Fuck off, go away, no!" And the bear was like,
did he have food?
Okay, I'll wander off, and then he came back again, but then he went off again, and it was all. It was just standing his ground. It was like, it wasn't being threatening, but it was saying, if you come over here, I'm gonna cause you I'm just too much bother. You don't want to bother me. Just move on. You don't want to bother with me.
Yep, that's why they tell you to make yourself look bigger than you are.
Yeah.
So that you look like you're going to cause more damage than what's worth their time. This is generally why a cougar won't attack you unless it thinks you're food and you're running, that's why cougars usually attack people on bikes.
Your energy that you hold is the most important thing. Out of all of these, what you do physically, all this sort of stuff, what you're feeling is the most important thing. That's what they're
feeling
that's the communication they're understanding more than anything. It's the same as with your dog, same as with your animals. Where you understand that, where you go, when I'm feeling this way, that affects them, whether they don't know.
That's helped with hiking alone.
Emotions. Yeah. And it's because we have all these beliefs and stuff within us. It's different. We have to observe more. We have to observe our state more, and another person or another animal state. You know, that's what we have to feel and connect with first, and then think.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the situation now. Now what do I do?
I'm gonna have to stick my arm in again, right? Because we've gone for another 30 minutes after we said last time we're going to close.
Oh, we missed 3:33. Damn.
Take the dogs out. All right, so I have to.
Yeah. Let's call it. Well, we're going to be back on tomorrow. I know. I love this. This is what always happens. No, you hang up.
We'll be back on tomorrow. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I don't know. It's up to Sarah, because she has to. 1 o'clock in the afternoon for us means 5 o'clock in the morning for Sarah.
I'd like to do a 6 a.m.er. That's what I set it for. I already set us up for 6 a.m.
Oh, you've already set it for 2, so that's 2 in the afternoon.
And I sent everybody an invite with a link. I said, Tet won, Callum's got it, Cam's got it. The only person I think I just realized I haven't added is maybe Bernie. I was going to add him so that not everybody can come on. That's the idea. But we just wanted everybody to have a regular link. And Callum, we kind of expect you to come on. So tune in tomorrow.
If I can, I will.
Please.
Because your mum, your mum's now, aren't you, or something?
Still, yeah, but she's back soon, so I'll have to deal with my internet that I'll have to fix up and get going. So hopefully the next one.
Please do. Sorry,
Anyway, much love to the chat room. Thank you very much, guys. Pushkin, Alex, PJC Nat.
Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Erin Roper, Arwin, Marvoy. Jolly man. Hey, Jolly man. How you doing, man? I don't see you in there. Realize.
Cascadian, might have to meet up if you're down sometime because I don't have I don't know what the word is on like the meetups in this area. I know like there's a lot in Southern California, but I was thinking there's got to be more in this area. So cool.
One love,
Richie,
Brian, mate.
Send the links for tomorrow too. And hi, Brian. Hope you're feeling good today. Always sending the good vibes. Alex.
What was that about the links? The links for tomorrow?
Yeah, to because we can't link Roxanne's channel yet. So come catch us over on Richie's channel. You can always use mine as a backup, but I recommend going to Richie's because that's where we chat.
Yeah. Cool.
I got
what I'm going to do, because we're on Roxanne, I need to.
Don't forget to stretch.
It's not coming up on my it's not coming up on my channel. So
I have the links in the private chat for you, Richie. So you can just copy and paste.
Oh, that's the link, to the channel. Yeah.
That's all I mean. Just repost them for people. Come over tomorrow for us. And we're still figuring out Rox's channel, so hopefully we'll get it linked pretty soon here. The other thought I had, Richie, what if we just use Roxanne's StreamYard and I just linked my payment setup to that instead of my own? You know, that might be what we need to do. Just a thought.
I don't know.
I know it means loading everything up over there, but we can talk about it later. Love you all.
We're going to play out with Proc Fetch and Green Velvet. That's who we're going to play out with.
Ooh.
And just remember that we are in control. Much love, guys. Thank you very much. Peace.
Everything you do, everything you think, everything you say. We decide who your friends will be, where you go to school, who you marry, how many kids you will have, and the car you will drive, and at what speed. We will make you work for money, and tell you how you spend it, and modify your seeds. We will make you hate the ones you love, family, friends, and yourself. We will monitor your each and every move, pollute your air and water to weaken your health. We will turn you against each other to control any unrest. We will sell you drugs and put you in jail for buying them. We know what's best. decide what you hear and see. Whether your bank gives back your money. If you'll be the next president or prime minister. If you'll be free or a prisoner. We decide when you go out, where, how long, how often. We work you to death and charge you for your coffee.